Ryan Logan, and you're watching ABL Live. Thank y'all for being here. You could be anywhere in the whole wide world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I definitely appreciate y'all for that. It's quite a few topics on deck for tonight. Oh, the sham impeachment, so-called quote-unquote impeachment hearings. A big nothing burger, boring. I'm getting history lessons about Ukraine. I'm getting all kind of stuff that doesn't have anything to do with anything. Just random BS. I'm getting Adam Schiff lying as usual. You know what? When I first heard him lie, I'm like, okay, this is newsworthy. I mean, it is because it's the only thing that really happened. But at the same time, this is what he always does. It's not anything new. This is just Adam Schiff being Adam Schiff. So that whole thing is going on. I'm not sure if it's over, how long it's going to continue. But quite frankly, I don't think there's much more that needs to be said. If they're not going to bring out the whistleblower, if they're not going to bring out Joe Biden, really Joe and Hunter, because Joe was involved too with the whole Ukraine situation, that's a different story. If they're not going to bring out the real star witnesses, the real key people, then I'm not even really interested. I'm just not even, I'm not really, I know it's just a circus and it's a dog and pony show for the cameras. We got to talk about the Canadian legend Don Cherry being fired on Remembrance Day. Very well known and loved in Canada. A lot of you guys asked about that. We'll talk about the MAGA challenge, Rodney Reed, and much more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And thank y'all for joining. I most certainly appreciate you. Like I said, you could be anywhere in the whole wide world, which right here with me. I most certainly appreciate you for that. Thank you for joining tonight. Yeah, it's a whole lot going on. And shout out to everybody in the chat, all the hockey fans, all the Canadians, all the people who wish the impeachment inquiry, whatever they want to call it, stuff will just come to an end. All that good stuff. But just shout out to all you guys. Appreciate you guys for being here. Hey, it's cold everywhere, El Michelle. It is cold everywhere. I was seeing that they had snow that shut down the airport in Chicago. Or I don't know if it got shut down, but it was like flights were delayed, a plane skidded off the runway. It's like, man, it's a little bit too early for that. It's not even Thanksgiving yet, and you already got crazy snow and extreme cold. It's a little bit too much for me. But I thought we had global warming. See, that's what they want to call that climate change, because at first it was global warming just a few years ago. You know, you're going to melt the polar ice caps. That was the fear just like last year. Sea level rise. Now it's, since the weather is sometimes unpredictable and things change like normal weather, we're going to call it climate change. I mean, the basic thing you could say about climate change would be a thing called seasons. Yeah, the climate does change when the seasons change, when the earth rotates on its axis, depending upon how close the sun is to where you are. That'll be what the temperature and the weather will be like. It's simple. It's called seasons. It always happens every single year. That's climate change right there. You know, since weather can be unpredictable, they don't want to say global warming or global cooling. They just say climate change, and then they'd be like, oh, well, this is a problem. We got a big hurricane, climate change, heat wave, climate change, cold snap, climate change. Even though it's like not even an abnormal thing to have those things, we'll just blame it on climate change so we can get some money, and we can send teenage girls on big giant boats, what they call ocean yachts, that cost like $200,000 across the ocean to Madrid from Norfolk, Virginia, or pardon me, Hampton, Virginia. Silly. Al Gore is somewhere in this multi-million-dollar compound, big carbon emitting compound, just collecting money from whatever organization he works with or organizations he may work with. Yeah, cigar box, it's freezing in Chicago. Like, I'm talking about what they said, like 5 degrees. Or it said it feels like 5 degrees. But it's snow everywhere. It's cold. Now, you got the lake right there. I mean, see, that's why I can't really do the northern big cities or northern places in general. I'm not a fan of the cold. When it gets below 50 degrees, I'm putting on a fur coat. You understand what I'm saying? I don't like the cold. So, But thank y'all for joining. I definitely appreciate you. Have you guys seen any of the impeachment inquiry hearings, the sham impeachment, whatever you want to call it? I've seen some of it, but man, I couldn't sit through a bunch of just useless words. They're talking about the history of Ukraine. It's like, okay, I understand about Kevin Russ and I understand about all of that. I know a little bit of history, so I don't need to hear about this right now. You know, if I wanted to hear about the history of Ukraine, I can go to YouTube and learn more than I already do. Okay, I don't care about this particular House Reps resume. I just don't care. Why should I know about X, Y, and Z person from X, Y, and Z place and their resume if they're not my rep? Why should I know about them? Now, if they're my local rep, then I would know about that a little bit because I would have already studied them. I would have voted for them or not voted for them. So why do I need to hear that at a impeachment hearing? For what? Yeah, impeachment farce, 100%. David Rivera is boring. That's right, Sir Arnie. And thank you for being a supporter. I appreciate it. And shout out to everybody super chatting already. I appreciate you guys. But yeah, Adam Schiff. Now, this guy, to put it in proper context, is the House Intelligence Committee chair. Now, if I'm wrong about that, you guys let me know in the comments. The impeachment hearings are held by the House Intelligence Committee. So you're like the top guy. You're the guy in charge. Okay, you just straight lie on the stand. It's been widely reported by PBS, CNN, MSNBC, Washington Post, New York Times, Fox News. The left and the right are pretty much in agreement that Adam Schiff's staff have met with the whistleblower. At least the staff, if not Adam Schiff himself directly. Either it's the staff and Schiff or just the staff. Either way, the staff or Schiff have met with the whistleblower. But when they ask him, hey, have you talked to the whistleblower? No, I haven't. How about your staff? Nobody talked to him yet. Okay, so nobody's spoken to the whistleblower. You don't know who he is, but you're going to protect his identity. So if somebody were to utter his name some kind of way, how would you be able to know if that person was the whistleblower? I could say Jacob Hammerschmidt is the guy, and then he will have to say, what? Is he going to just be like, oh, that's, you know, is he going to defend that? Like, how do you know who the person is? If you've not met them, if you don't know them, if you've not spoken to them, what are we talking about? He is a liar. He's a stone cold, stomp down liar. He purports himself to be this like guy that is above everybody, kind of a pretentious attitude. But then when it really comes down to it, you're not dealing with a full deck here, Adam Schiff. And it's all just to try to make Trump look bad for the 2020 election. They know that they don't have a chance. Look, they know there's no chance. They know coming up in 2020, he is going to win again. All they can do is try to make him look bad, just give him a big PR nightmare to try and dampen his chances of being elected, because the average normie, they may see him being or going through the impeachment process or starting the impeachment process, you know, the impeachment inquiry. All they're doing right now, to be clear, is having hearings to see if they are going to impeach him. Like, if there's enough evidence, whatever, it's if they're going to impeach him. He has not been impeached yet. So they know they are not going to be able to get all the way to the end. Even if they go through the impeachment inquiry and say, let's impeach, they're not going to be able to convict. So all they're doing right now is making them look bad. You got to have 20 Republicans that are going to come out and say, okay, I impeach. If you had 0 Republicans that voted for the impeachment inquiry, how are you going to get 20 that vote for impeachment, period? All you have is a Ukraine phone call. There will not be any new information that's disclosed. Trump's going to reveal a second phone call with the Ukrainian president. I don't think that Adam Schiff and the squad, or, you know, not literally the squad like AOC and them, but I don't think Adam Schiff and the swamp, I should say, anticipated him to release the transcripts. They thought they can just put stuff out there, conjecture, lies, or whatever, and have the American people believe it. But now we have the actual transcripts. Now they're trying to say the transcripts are fake. It's like, man, come on. At a certain point, it just becomes very desperate, and desperation, people can smell it at a certain point. That includes your constituents that you want to vote for you again, or you don't want to vote for Trump in 2020. And if they can sense your desperation and your lies and all that good stuff, you fear, your plan to make the president look bad may not go as planned. Sure, some people may look at him in a bad way. The left, of course, they're going to say, oh, well, he deserved it. He should have been impeached, all this, that, and the third. They're going to say that because they don't like Trump regardless. That's fine. That's okay. But are you going to convince anybody who did not think Trump was a bad guy, who did not think Trump was a racist, who did not think Trump should be removed? Are you going to be able to get anybody on your side from this? Are you going to be able to convince people that voted for Trump in 2016 and plan on doing it again to stay home? Are you going to convince any new voters who have not voted yet to vote for a different person or to stay home rather than voting for Trump? I don't know if you're going to do that. Some people, yes, but it may not be enough. What you may end up doing is having this whole thing backfire on you when you don't get it accomplished. People may have voted for you, Adam Schiff and everybody else, whoever, they may have voted for people on the left to get Trump out of office. They may have run on the whole thing. We're going to impeach the mother effer. Remember that from, who was that? Rashida Tlaib. So you're telling your constituents that at your celebration after you get elected, but you don't actually follow through on the full thing, which is getting him removed from office. You may even be able to impeach, and that's fine, but your regular normie is not going to look at the simple legal term impeachment as enough. They want to be kicked out of office. Okay, they're going to be out there protesting, cussing and fussing, talking about orange man bad, this, that, and the third. You're not going to be able to complete your goal. So it may hurt the Democrats in the end if they're not able to accomplish what people think their goal is. So all in all, it's just a big time farce. Your Adam Schiff and people like that, hopefully they just gone from government soon. Okay, this guy has a high position. Hopefully he is gone from government very soon. 100%. All right. But hey, we're going to see how this whole thing plays out. I, for one, can't really wait to see how the whole thing plays out. I hope that they just drop it, but they're not. This is just a coup attempt. It won't go the way they want it, but still, it's going to be a bad look for a lot of people. They're going to try to lock them up. They don't have anything. They have nothing. Just like Trump said, look, they had a better chance of being able to get something from the Mueller investigation. Okay, 3 years they spent $30 million. Like, they had all their chips in the table on the Mueller report, right? That yielded absolutely zero, nothing. And just like Trump said after they were done with that, when they started, they had nothing. And now that it's over, they have less than nothing. They're going to have even less than nothing after the impeachment goes nowhere. After it hits a brick wall and just crashes and burns, they're going to go, it'd be totally, that they'll be at a detriment. They'll be at a loss. And it's their own fault. Yeah, hey, the economy is great. People are getting jobs. People are starting businesses. It's doing fantastic. But the left, I guess they're just kind of on a power trip. They want to be able to get in there and do certain things. They want to get in there and just take all your money. Really, that's what it is. Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, talking about Medicare for all or health care for all, whatever she says, talking about we're going to spend $54 trillion. If I'm wrong about that number, let me know in the comments below. But you're talking about at least $50 trillion. Now, to put it in context, the GDP of planet Earth is about 92 trillion. You're going to spend more than half of that on one country's healthcare. How are you going to do that? It doesn't make any sense. But that's what they want. They want stuff like that. They want really what is a total government takeover of healthcare and of your person. That's what communism actually is taking over your person, taking over whatever your transportation. Oh, don't worry about that. Don't drive no carbon emitting, gas guzzling car. We're going to take that from you and get on this train and take you anywhere you want, including where we want you to go. No guns either. Get on that train, go wherever you want to go. Okay, the food, we got to get better food. Everything is going to be controlled by the government. Your doctor, your food, your job, everything. It's weird when they talk about, well, give us some money and we'll give you some jobs in return. How does that really work? So basically, you're going to confiscate all the money and give it back to people in the form of jobs. How long is that Ponzi scheme going to work out? Okay, because you don't have anything that's really there to actually produce. You're taking money and then giving it back. You're taking money and then giving it back. At a certain point, there'll be no more money to take. So you can't give it back. Now I'm on the bread line and I'm starving, so I don't got no food. That's how these things operate. People don't understand that. People don't think long term. You got a lot of short-sighted individuals out there. They say, hey, Yang Gang, $1,000 a month. Okay, you got a plan for it right now, but how long is that going to actually work? To take money from people to give it back to you in the form of $1,000 check. How long will that actually work? There is a finite amount of resources in the world. You can't just keep taking and not give anything in return or produce. That's a better word to use, not give. You got to be able to produce things in order to gain things. It's like farming. Okay, you got a whole big plot of land, right? And you got corn all on it. Now, you can keep on taking from the land to give to people. You can give corn to people, free corn on the cob, whatever. At a certain point, you got to continuously grow more corn. You got to produce more corn, because when you keep taking, it's going to run empty, and then there's no more. Now we're fighting over who gets the last piece of corn. Okay, there's one more corn on the cob in the world, and everybody's fighting over it. Everybody's hungry. Venezuela right now, easy. It's always China the same way. Russia, Germany, it always happens. It's never a new outcome. So it kind of pains when people say, oh, we're going to try socialism. We're going to try communism. Why do it now? It didn't work before. How is it going to work now? The same processes are going to be there. It is what it is. So that was so much I had to get it off. That was definitely on my chest. Shout out to my man, Don Cherry, who was fired unjustly. Now, if you guys don't know, he is a Canadian icon. Definitely an ice hockey, I think. He was a commentator on CBC in Canada for like 40 years, since 1980 or 1981. So about 38, 39, 40 years. Before that, he was a player and also a coach of different hockey teams. Now, people loved him because he just like your uncle, a normal guy, conservative guy in Canada, which is rare to have a conservative on television, very rare in Canada. And he said something about Remembrance Day. Now, Remembrance Day, I had to get educated. It's like Memorial Day for us. You remember your fallen heroes. And as part of Remembrance Day, there's a tradition that came from England or UK and came to Canada. After World War I, people will put on like the red poppy, I guess, on their shirt, lapel, or whatever, to remember their fallen heroes. In Canada, they do the same thing. They put on the poppy. That's what they do for Remembrance Day, or leading up to Remembrance Day. So all he was saying was, hey, you people that come here, you love the Canadian way of life. You love our traditions. You love our milk and honey. The least you can do is spend a couple bucks on the poppy and wear that to remember the fallen heroes. I mean, come on. He's basically saying assimilate into the culture. Do some things that we do. Don't just totally ignore our culture. You come here and you want to partake in what we've been able to build in this nation. At least do some of the traditions that we have, like remembering fallen heroes. And quite frankly, it's about unifying all Canadians. It's not a race thing. They try to say, oh, this is white supremacy and all this, that. One person, this leftist Canadian from BuzzFeed, or he writes for BuzzFeed. I want to say he works there. He has written for BuzzFeed. He was saying that the poppy is a symbol of white supremacy or something like that, because it's a line of delineation between real Canadians and ungrateful interlopers. It's like, no, it ain't about that. It's like, let's all come together as Canadians. We're a nation, right? I don't care, whatever it is. You're a citizen, you're a Canadian. Let's come together under that. Okay, you got the military. It ain't just the white man that died in the military. It's everybody that's been affected by people that have passed away. And also, if you didn't have somebody in your family that died or a friend that died, in combat, you at least can respect those that did pass in order to preserve Canada for what it is right now. Where you call home, the place you call home right now, it was defended and created by those that are no longer here. So put on the poppy. For that, he got fired. They said that he was racist, xenophobic, all kind of stuff. Now, they were saying that he was saying some negative comments before, some sexist stuff, some xenophobic stuff, some racist stuff. Now, I'll give you a couple of examples. He was talking about how, as far as ice hockey, just a sport, that there should be no women in the locker room. I mean, to me, it makes sense. Okay, you got guys in there with no clothes on, nude, whatever, after a game. Gary getting in the shower, and you got women back there with microphones and cameras trying to do like post-game interviews. It's like, wait a minute. How about you let me put my clothes on, ma'am, and then I get back to you, but you can't really be in here when I'm nude. That's inappropriate. Some of these guys are married, and you don't want a whole Me Too thing to pop off where she says, oh, he brushed up against me and this ding-a-ling touched my backside, is that and the third. You don't want that. So what he said was right. They try to say it's sexist. It's like, nah, I'm just trying to make sure everybody's comfortable and protected. Why should I have to be around a woman that's not my wife or anything like that if I'm playing hockey and I ain't got my clothes on yet? Like, why should I be subject to that? It's just like Mike Pence saying that he won't go to a dinner or anything like that with a woman by himself. He'll have his wife in tow. They try to say he was wrong for that. He sexist is that and the third. It's like, nope. I respect my wife. I respect the marriage. That's what I want to do. Why admonish him for that? And his faith as well. He's a Christian. He's want to make sure everything's above board, everything's good. But see, you get admonished for trying to do the right thing. Also, he was talking about French Canadians. Now, I was kind of confused. It's like, all right, you have Ontario, and then you have Quebec. Quebec, they speak French, right? If I'm mistaken, let me know in the comments. But Ontario, they speak English. It's a primary language. So when you cross the border, like if you go from Toronto to Montreal, you got to change your language up. I just don't understand that. I guess he was trying to say, let's have all one unifying language. You could speak different languages, and that's fine. Like if I go to Miami, they're going to speak Spanish, but at least be able to speak English too. It's simple. Like have English be the dominant language rather than going to Quebec and it's French. Okay, if you're going to have one nation, let it be one nation. England and France are two different nations, although they're very close together. Just a body of water separating them, basically. So it's not a big deal for me to go from London to Paris and the language has changed. It's two different countries. But from Toronto to Quebec, it shouldn't be a language change. That's just me. I mean, I could be wrong. Y'all let me know if I'm right or whatever in the comments. So I'm just saying it just made sense. Now, for the whole French Canadian thing, you got in trouble for that. They said he's being xenophobic. It's like, nah, it's just kind of like logic. So they fired him, and they fired him on Remembrance Day. The incident happened like 2 days before Remembrance Day. They fired him on Remembrance Day. So I think that was done for a particular reason. Kind of really petty and cold-hearted to send a message. So shout out to my man Don Cherry. From what I've learned, he's a Canadian treasure, and it was dead wrong what they did to him. But that is what happens when your country goes all the way far to the left. And it's funny how they said at the CBC. Matter of fact, it wasn't even really the CBC that was at fault here. Okay, CBC may have been at fault because they actually fired him. But what it really was the fans. People called in talking about, oh, this is xenophobic, this is racist, this is that, and the third. They said it had an overwhelming amount of people that called in. It broke records, like the most ever amount of negative calls against somebody. Now, I'm not sure if they were fans, if they were even all Canadian or whatever the case may be, but that's just the reality. They got a lot of negative calls about it. So they got him out of there. But Justin Trudeau had on blackface, right? Remember that. They was trying to call it brown face. No, sir, that was blackface. He had on blackface, and that was no problem. It was all good. They reelected this man because, I don't know, leftists, he has the values that they want, but the blackface and all of that, that's not considered racist. So let me get this straight. Apparently, saying that all Canadians should maybe just respect Canadian culture and those that died for Canadians to be here today, for Canada to be a country, that's somehow racist. To say that women probably shouldn't be in the male's locker room while the men are naked, that's somehow sexist. But a guy wearing blackface multiple times, that's fine. That's not racist. I just don't understand the logic. All I want from people is to be consistent. That's all I want. Let's have some consistency and predictable pattern of behavior. That's all. That's across the board. Just be the same and it's all good. But unfortunately, I don't get that from a lot of these people on the left. They just, they selectively have outrage at particular moments. And it's really weird. But again, shout out to my man, Don Cherry. He'll land on his feet. Ain't no problem at all. None whatsoever. And what else we got? Let me see. Oh, the MAGA challenge. Shout out to my man, Bryson, a.k.a. Be Serious. Donald Trump retweeted his tweet. Now, if you guys haven't seen it, a lot of people are doing rap challenges to a beat that Bryson put out there. He put out a song, and he was talking about the president in a positive way, and people are like duplicating it in their own way. They're giving their own verses or whatever to the song. So Trump saw it, or his team saw it, and Trump retweeted it and said, hey, submit your raps. The winner will come to the White House and perform. Winner or winners. So Jimmy Kimmel saw this as part of his nightly Trump bashing routine. And I got to pause for one moment. How can anybody watch Kimmel at this point? I thought it was a late night comedian, a talk show host. So why is it anytime I see a clip from him on the internet, it's just the opening monologue is Trump bashing. Nothing but Trump bashing. It's like, does that not really get old? I mean, come on. Everything is Trump bashing. And he decided to bash us, me and other people, my friend Bryson and me. I'll talk about me later, but getting back to the whole MAGA challenge, he was talking about, like, he put up a compilation of people that did it. And number one, they were all white. But when I first saw it, like a month or two ago, it was like 70 to 80% black. So it was like, you're trying to like make it look like, it's corny and nobody black would actually support the president. You did that intentionally. Okay. And then you try to like pick people that didn't really do a good job. So you're trying to just smear it like it's a corny thing and the president won't bring anybody out. Just real stupid. Just a liar, just like Adam Schiff. The left are full of liars. But anyway, I thought that was really interesting how he wants to talk about this challenge like it's not really a real thing. And then he talked about the event I went to Friday, and this was the Black Voices for Trump event. You guys, I got my badge, so I actually was there. And as you guys can see, I mean, maybe you don't know, but I am black. I am black. And he showed this picture of two white folks that were there with their Blacks for Trump shirt on. And he said, this is the real attendees of the Black Voices for Trump event. Again, saying that it was nobody black there. But if you go to my Instagram page, you check out my videos, you go everywhere, you're going to see 95% black folks in the building. And it was packed. We had a capacity crowd. It was 400 in the room, and that was capacity. We had to turn folks away, unfortunately. As many in the room was as many as got turned away because we didn't have the capacity. And it was last minute and invite only. So people just want to talk stuff about what we got going on and don't know anything. And the reason why I have to be able to come out and say something against it is because regular normies out there may not even know the difference. They might not even know that what he's saying is false. So I got to come out and give you the real information. And the Black Voices for Trump event will not just be one event. It's going to be a continuation. We're going to go out here and actually go to the inner city communities, wherever black folks are, and try to get people to come to the right. That's our whole goal. And we're going to be actively doing that. There's a lot of us out here that are doing it, and we're working together behind the scenes. You might not even know it. You might not even see it, but we're doing it. And I want to see Jimmy Kimmel address his whole blackface kerfuffle. Remember that. Remember when he went as like Karl Malone I thought that it's always weird how these people on the left, they do the very things that they say people on the right do. They say people on the right are racist. They wear blackface. They wear Klan costumes, all this, that, and the third. But really, it's them. This is Jimmy Kimmel. Not only is he wearing blackface, he has on the whole costume. He's trying to be Karl Malone. Okay, so you have the fake bald head, the fake beard, the fake jazz jersey. That's funny. I didn't know it was a fake jersey. It says Jams, not Jazz. Fake jazz jersey, fake muscles, and all over your body is black. That's fine, right? That's totally fine. That's no big deal. But Trump trying to do outreach to the black community, which has been asked for years and years and years and years by the black community. You want to trash that like it's somehow bad and try to downplay it and then try to like insinuate that it's a racist thing. I mean, come on, man. What are we doing? Why is it always do as I say, not as I do? That's what I want to know. And you know what? This is part of the reason why people are walking away. They're seeing stuff like this and be like, all right, man, come on. Like, how are you going to say somebody's racist or try to attack Trump for being racist, but you got on a whole blackface outfit? If what Trump says is racist about trying to help the black community, trying to do some outreach, if that's your bar to measure racism, then what is this? I just don't really understand. Again, the left, they're funny like that. Justin Trudeau can do the same thing Jimmy Kimmel did. No problem. But God forbid Don Cherry say, hey, all Canadians, let's join hands and remember our fallen heroes with the poppy. You're racist. Get out. Fired. I mean, come on. It's crazy. And the way he talked, that's right, Voltron 512. Like he tried to imitate Karl Malone's voice. So he did the black guy voice. He put on the whole full body costume and all of that. That's fine. Totally fine. Trump says, hey, black community, can I help? Yes. Racist. Hilarious. But hey, I mean, the hypocrisy is unreal. Unmatched. It is what it is. Yeah, don't nobody, people on the left don't care about that. They just let that slide. It's like, oh, no, it's all good. Like when Bill Maher said the N-word on TV. Oh, no, it's all good. No problem. But they freak out in the grocery store when somebody else said it. But that's a different story, and I digress. All right. Let me see. What else we got here? Oh, Rodney Reed. I got to talk about Rodney Reed for sure. Rodney Reed. Now, a lot of you guys may have seen that this person, Rodney Reed, was a person that had been advocated for to get off of death row in Texas. Now, to give you the long story short, in 1996, a 19-year-old white woman was raped and murdered in Texas. The prime suspect for a year was her fiance, who got locked up 10 years later for rape as a police officer. It was kidnapping and rape while he was on duty. But that was 10 years later after this situation happened. But anyway, he was the primary suspect for a year, but there was no evidence to link him to the actual crime. Now, this guy, Rodney Reed, was just a general menace to society. He was a crack smoker, a drug dealer, a rapist, an abuser, just an overall bad person. You don't want this guy anywhere near you, basically. Now, he got locked up for a separate charge. I think it might have been drugs or another rape. But his DNA was taken, and his DNA was matched to a rape that had happened recently. And it was run against other rapes, and it matched the young lady that got killed a year earlier, who had the husband or the fiance as a prime suspect for a year. It matched her. Now, after the DNA came back as a match, then he said, oh, we were in a relationship. That was my girlfriend. But how is it that it was only your DNA that was found in her, not her fiance's DNA, and her truck was found like a half mile from your house, Rodney Reed? Okay. I think that this case is getting a lot of attention to get him off of death row because they're saying that he was wrongfully convicted. That was his girlfriend. I think the main thing is because of the celebrity attention, the lack of reading the court documents, because the DNA evidence is in there for the court. I'll talk about more of the rapes later. But the evidence is in there in the court documents. All of that's there. And the fact that her fiance got locked up later for rape as an officer. And also, there's some corruption happening in the county where this whole thing happened. So all those things made it seem questionable. But the fact is that there's not enough evidence to say that he didn't do the crime of rape and murder on a 19-year-old young lady in 1996. Furthermore, there were at least 6 other rapes he was implicated in due to his DNA matching, including a 12-year-old girl. He broke her in her house, beat her violently, bit her in the face, raped her. Okay. Also, a disabled person he was quote unquote in a relationship with, who said that if she did not have sex with him, he would beat her. Okay. Mentally disabled. Now, somebody that's okay. And there was other rapes. He tried to kidnap somebody else and raped them on the same route where the first person was kidnapped and raped, but she escaped and pointed him out of a lineup. What you have here is a monster, a serial rapist. People are saying he should be free or taken off of death row, do not know the facts of the case. Simple as that. So it is what it is. Even if, check this out, even if he didn't commit the rape of the 19-year-old, which I don't see any evidence that he didn't do it. Even if he didn't do it, it doesn't matter. You have 6 other rapes. His DNA matches. So, I mean, how can you really come against that? Now, I think people are trying to say that the DNA was planted. Why? How? It's pretty elaborate to plant that DNA randomly like that, okay, for it to match crimes that already happened. It'll make no sense. You see what I'm saying? And there was a warrant for turning in a suspect. If you knew as a family member that this guy was with the girl in a quote unquote relationship, then why would you not turn them in and get that money? You know, a lot of broke family members, they do that in a heartbeat. They'd be the first ones to snitch on you immediately. They did not know anything about him and her being together because they were not together. The dude's a monster. Keep him on death row and execute him immediately. You know, I'm all for prison reform and freeing people that deserve to be free, people that actually didn't do it, and there's evidence to corroborate it. Like, okay, you've been in the penitentiary for like 20 years, or before DNA evidence was available. And DNA evidence is available now. Bring your DNA, and your DNA is not at the scene. It was not there. It belongs to somebody else, and they might have gone to jail for the same thing. So it matches up to the other person. You deserve to come home. Come on. You've been in jail for like 30 years on a crack violation from the early 90s, the Clinton crime bill. Okay, come on home. But you're on death row for rape and murder. There's no evidence to overturn the guilty verdict. And you got 6 other rapes, including a disabled person and a 12-year-old. You got to fry. It is what it is. 1,000%. So, I mean, people that are saying take them off death row, I mean, they don't have the facts. If they had the facts, you can't defend it. As simple as that. So, yeah, the whole case is crazy. And you're in Texas, so I don't think that Greg Abbott, I think the governor's name is Greg Abbott. I don't think he'll release the guy or anything like that. I think he'll be right where he is, which is where he deserves to be, on death row. And he'll go ahead and get that electric chair, rope, whatever they need to do ASAP, sooner than later. It is what it is. Now, the guy, Steve, who is Steve Avery? You talking about the fiance? I'm not sure who Steve Avery is. Let me see. The Rapper 10,000 says, in Canada, they suspended a girl at school for not wearing an LGBTQ pin on Remembrance Day. Wow. I've not seen that story, but that's crazy. Okay, so you can get suspended for not wearing a particular pin, but you can get fired for encouraging people to wear a pin. It's weird. So if you don't wear a pin that people want you to wear, you get suspended, but you get fired for saying wear a pin that you have been wearing for years and years and years, and that should be worn. Okie dokie. Makes sense. Let me see. That's right, Lori Brooks. She says, I'm from Texas. He ain't getting out. 100%. So, yeah, we're going to see what happens at the end of that. What else we got on deck? I went to the BLEXIT rally in Atlanta on, what was that, Sunday. Oh, that was a great event. Met a lot of great people there. Took a lot of pictures. It was fun. A lot of great speakers. Candace was there. Candace spoke and she showed her wedding footage at the end. That was a nice touch. And her grandfather was there who raised her. Like, he was like pretty much right in front of me. That was a very nice moment because he couldn't. The story goes, at her wedding, her granddad was supposed to be walking down the aisle, but he had some medical issues that he was dealing with, so he couldn't make it. So since he couldn't make it, she showed him the footage for the first time in front of all of us. So that was a really nice moment. But aside from that, a lot of great speakers. David Harris Jr. did very well. King Face did well. Shout out to my man King Face. He did fantastic. Off the cuff, really, really good speaker. Brandon Tatum, of course, did well. Overall, it was a good event. I enjoyed it. But what I always like doing is just spending time with a lot of you guys that are out there. So if I met you in Atlanta on Sunday or Friday, shout out to you. You know, I enjoyed meeting you. Everybody that I met and took pictures with, I really enjoyed it. It was a fun time. You got haters out there talking about, oh, it wasn't really full, it wasn't really black, whatever. At the end of the day, it was a good experience. I don't care about no haters. If people spent less time hating and more time creating their own situation, maybe they would not have time to hate, because hating is a full-time job at a certain point. If you hate constantly on like one person or a few people, it's all you do is that. And what else do you have in your life aside from hate? I'm all about positivity, not hate, not at all. Yep. Yeah, Candace is married. That's right, Jessica. Shout out to George. I saw him at the thing too. I didn't get to talk to him, but he was there. I saw him. All right. But what else we got? Shout out to everybody in the building. If you're just now coming in, you've been here for a little while, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, and subscribe right now if you're not subscribed already. And click that bell right beside the subscribe button. Click the bell. And if you do that, you get notified when I post a new video. So do that. I definitely appreciate you 100%. Yeah, I mean, haters, haters going to hate. It is what it is. But it was a great time. You know, it was no hate in the building. That's one thing I want to say. No hate in the building. Everybody was there. It was all love. That's what I'm all about. But yeah, shout out to everybody I met over the weekend. It was a pretty busy weekend. I was gone like, you know, Friday I was gone all day, and Sunday I was gone pretty much all day too. But, you know, Atlanta is not really far, so it was good to be able to go out there. It was fun. Now, me and T-Pain went to the one on Sunday. That was really fun for us to go. And Friday, I went on the bus with some people from here in Chattanooga, so that was fun too. All right, let me see. I'm reading some in the chat here. Oh, super chats right quick. Let me read super chats and I get to the calls in a minute. Let's go super chat. And thank you to, hold on, let's load it up right quick. Thank you to Matthew Richardson, who says Steve is from Making the Murderer. Okay, I've not seen Making the Murderer. I've heard about that, but I've not seen that. So thank you for your donation. Shout out to my man Jericho Green for the donation, who says the impeachment is BS. Don Cherry was right. Epstein did not kill himself. Man, I'm out. Thank you for that, Jericho, man. I definitely appreciate you, boss. Shout out to Bucolic Buffalo, who says a little support for you, sir. Hey, thank you for that, man. I definitely appreciate you. The Soul Forge 360 says Radcliffe, Nunez, or Meadows. Who's the best prosecutor? That's a good question. I did not see all of them. I saw Devin Nunez. I think he did very good, but I did not see Radcliffe or Meadows. I saw some of Meadows, but I didn't see all of them to make an opinion. But Devin Nunez always does very well, in my humble opinion. Shout out to Brett Sessoms, who says, why is there so much chaos at Popeyes? I don't eat there anymore. Man, listen. Popeyes, the problem is that, okay, the culture at Popeyes just ain't really right. The culture at Popeyes is like a glorified McDonald's. And they're usually like right in the ghetto. So you're going to get ghetto people to come in there and eat and also work. So you get a combination of an overall kind of not really a kind culture mixed with ghetto people working behind the counter and in front of the counter ordering. It creates a big mess. And then you have a viral sensation that everybody wants. I don't know. I mean, did they put crack in the actual sandwich? Is it heroin or something in the sandwich? What's really going on? People are dying literally over a chicken sandwich. Somebody said that it wasn't. Somebody said that the stabbing was not over the sandwich. Yes, it was. If you go to a place where there's a line specifically for a sandwich that you want to buy, you get in the line, somebody else gets in the line, and they take your spot. They cut you in the line. They get in front of you, and y'all get in the fight. Obviously, the fight and the resulting death is over the sandwich. So people are dying over the sandwich. People are getting beat up. I saw an old lady get slammed. They were playing dice. Chick-fil-A would never. I'm seeing undone sandwiches. I'm seeing prep stations on top of trash cans. They got the actual buns you eat off of on a flatbed on top of a trash can. Never would I ever do something like that when I was at Old Country Buffet back in the day. Never, ever, ever. Totally disgusting. Okay, people getting beat up. That's the culture that exists there is not one like Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is like going to church. Hey, have a wonderful and blessed day. How's everybody? That kind of thing. Popeyes is like a glorified McDonald's. It's just not a positive culture. So you're going to get beat up occasionally going to a place like that. It is what it is. It's almost like going to a ghetto Walmart. At night, you might want to, bring a weapon on you and protect your neck because it gets real. 100%. Okay. Steve Minister says ABL any word on the corruption in Virginia. Hold on. Selling out hardworking local businesses, owners, and employees. An article called Something's Fishy About Alchemos Project Jonah in Virginia. I don't know anything about that. But Virginia is just, I'm going to tell you about Virginia. People think that Virginia is going left because of people think that Virginia is going the way it's going as far as being controlled by the blue counties because of demographic switches, like less white. That ain't the case. What's happening is that Washington, D.C. is expanding. The government, we're trying to get the government smaller, but at a certain point, once you got Barack Obama setting seeds to make the government grow bigger, you're going to have more government folks there working physically. So they're going to be living right there, working right there. That's going to cause the area to grow. And people that live there are going to vote more for leftists than conservatives because it's just a general culture up there in the Beltway and beyond. Every time we see a map of demographic changing in Virginia, it's always right there. Fredericksburg, Alexandria, that's D.C. All of that, once you get to Fredericksburg, you're in D.C. Basically, that's what it is. It's really just that simple. It's people going to Washington, D.C. for high-paid jobs. From California, New York, Florida, Texas even. Liberals are going for high-paid jobs in D.C. That's the reason why Virginia is controlled by the left. 30%, actually 1/3, so more than 30%, 1/3 of Virginia's population is in the Northern Virginia area, and that's growing day by day. That's why it is blue dominated. That's the only reason why. That's it. It's simple. So I don't know about the corruption as far as that particular business, but as far as Virginia going blue, it's because of DC. Blame DC. If you reduce the government in DC, you reduce the liberal population in DC. I want them to just take Alexandria and Fredericksburg, just take Northern Virginia and annex that into DC. You can have DC be Alexandria, Fredericksburg, up to Bowie and stuff like that, and Maryland. Just take all that area and make it be its own little thing. How about that? Golf and guns, exactly. You were in Alexandria, you are fed, or is am a fed, yeah. 100%. That's what it is. That's the issue. It's simple. I'm from Virginia. I know what it is. In other states, it's different. You go to Texas, the problem is not necessarily, it ain't the same thing as DC. DC, people are going there because of the government jobs. Texas, people are going there because they're escaping California. That's a next biggest state you can get some money and get a good job is in Texas. So people are leaving California because it's run poorly. Things aren't going very well. And then they go to Austin and Houston and Dallas, maybe even San Antonio. and they're going there and they're voting for the same things that they left in California, which is why you have a homeless problem in Austin, Texas right now. And the same thing, Denver, Colorado. You're starting to see needles on the ground, doo-doo on the ground. Why? You got Californians moving to the area, voting for things like not enforcing quality of life. You see what I'm saying? That's how it goes. That's the problem. Okay, Texas has always been kind of like the same way. But now you're getting people that come from other parts of America and voting a particular way to change the face of a particular place. It's simple. The reason why Texas has not gone blue, or it won't go blue anytime soon, is because of the size. You can withstand the influx of liberals and have certain cities turn blue, but it won't affect the state. Virginia is not as big as Texas. Therefore, Washington, D.C. has a big impact on us in a negative way in Virginia. It's simple. So, okay, got super chats right here. Thank y'all for joining. I definitely appreciate it. Get to the calls in a minute. Shout out to Matthew, who says, whistleblower lawyer was my lawyer in 2003. Wow. Interesting. All right, we get to that a little bit later. Shout out to Mandatory Carrier, who says, can't stay, observing, #November logout, but $10 to support the cause. Keep fighting. Hey, thank you for that, man. Definitely appreciate your boss. Shout out to Faith, who says, do the Democrats actually have witnesses that was involved with the call or spoke directly to the president? I don't think they do. I don't. That's a great question. I don't think that they do. It just, it's just, at this point, it's just kind of like conjecture, guesswork. Oh, I heard this, I heard that, is that, and the third. So that's a very good question. I don't think they do. Shout out to MTM89, who says America first, not Israel first. Who says it? Like, show me somebody who has said Israel first. Like, that's what I want to see. Anyway, shout out to Hollow 502, who says, got to love being part of the Chick-fil-A gang all day. Shout out to Chick-fil-A. I never have any issues when I go in there. It's always good. When I was in Virginia, I had a long wait in Chick-fil-A one time. It was like 15 minutes inside Chick-fil-A. The guy, I think the manager came out, apologized to me, and gave me 2 free Chick-fil-A sandwich cards. Like, the service is off the chain. It's fantastic. You don't get no better. Popeyes, you got to wear a bulletproof vest. You got to bring your gun, your knife, bear spray, all of that to get a sandwich that might be prepared over some trash cans, halfway done. I'm not really with it. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to go to Popeyes to try it. I'm just not going to do it. I like my safety. I like my ability to not get shot or beat up or have to beat somebody else up and go to jail. I'm good. MCM89 says, stop all military aid to Israel. Okay. Why? And how about all military aid to Iraq, Afghanistan, and the other countries we give aid to, like Japan, South Korea, Germany, etc.? But I digress. We're going to get into the calls here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. I thank y'all for being here. I definitely appreciate you. You guys are fantastic. Love y'all. And again, if I met you over the weekend in Atlanta, shout out to you. I appreciate you for coming to the events. I had a fantastic time, and I will be back in Atlanta sooner rather than later, hopefully. Yeah, well, man, we all agree that KFC stinks. KFC is not even in the conversation. KFC is what you eat when you're on the road and you got to stop somewhere to get something to eat because you're about to crash, because you're out of energy. But I would not go there. Like, I never thought to myself, hey, you know what I'm going to do for lunch? I'm going to go to KFC and get me a real good meal. Never. If I'm like about to starve to death, I might go to KFC and get a biscuit. But if I get a biscuit, I got to get a gallon size sweet tea with that because it's about dry as hair or desert. But we'll move on. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let me make sure my Skype and everything is working properly. Yeah, KFC was good at one point, maybe. I think KFC, what they did was they came up with the free meal thing a few years ago, and they have never recovered. MCM89 says, I agree, military aid to Israel and Iraq. How about every country? How about no aid to any country? How about that? And then you have leverage with these countries that you get with aid. You lose the leverage because you don't give aid anymore. So how will you get the leverage back? I don't know, but let's get back to the calls here. All righty, who do we have on the line? Oh, it's my man, Ramon. Long time, man. What's happening?
That much hockey, but I do have this hat. So all the Canadians I know are really, really bent out of shape about about him getting fired. But I did see someone. I don't know if you know his channel, but he does. He is a friend of Amazing Lucas, and they do live streams once in a while. And he said that legally, it's the same provision as you would talk about with Kaepernick, that you can't talk about your own personal opinions on the work in the workplace. So he doesn't really have any much legal recourse.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the thing about it, I think with him is different because Kaepernick is not a person that's paid to talk. He's paid to play football. But Don Cherry is a actual television person. He's a TV personality. His whole job is to talk. So it's like, how do you not give your personal opinion on certain things if you are paid to talk on TV? You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I agree with you. And I remember, in fact, when Bob Costas did a whole monologue during halftime about how the Washington Redskins nickname was racist and they should change it. There was never any outcry to, remove Bob Costas simply because he gave a political opinion. And in fact, I kind of do agree about the Redskins being a kind of a racist nickname, but it doesn't matter. I think that, unfortunately, we are at a deficit in terms of who's in charge of these corporations. And I guess the CBC is a state-owned media, so most of the people there do adhere to, I guess, woke guidelines of communication.
Right. Well, I'm with you.
But I did want to ask you, so I did send you the stuff last week about my debate, and I saw like this guy that keeps sending you super chats about ending military aid to Israel. So I can tell you I support ending the military aid, but when they focus on the single country and they make it solely about that, obviously you're going to have, especially the evangelicals, that's like their pet project and everything. In fact, I mean, I actually served in the Israeli army, and I support ending military aid to Israel because I don't believe that there should be dependency from one country to another. But then when they go to those rallies and they bring up the Liberty incident and the dancing Israelis, the truth is, if a lot of these people, these speakers, researched it and would know how to address the topic, it wouldn't really take that long, because the people asking about the dancing Israelis, they haven't looked at the FBI file, and if they would have seen that there was no grounds to charge the 5 people that were arrested. And when I started kind of looking into it, I would I'd reply to people who brought it up, especially during the 9/11 anniversary. And eventually, when I showed that the facts were wrong and everything, they would pivot away and they'd say, hey, what about the Palestinians, or what about circumcision? And I'd say to them, wait, I thought you wanted to talk about 9/11.
Right.
Right. And I always keep, and eventually they kept telling me to talk to or to look at this YouTuber named Ryan Dawson. And I figured out that I know someone who debated him before, and then I debated him, and he couldn't remember any of the particulars or specifics about any of the evidence that he showed in his films. And then eventually he started, to pivot away, and he'd say, oh, it was really, the NYPD let them go, Bernie Kerik and Rudy Giuliani. And he never really showed any evidence of it. He never showed any evidence that they committed a crime. I asked him if he could name a crime that the 5 people did that, besides being seen celebrating on the, during the event, which, obviously I don't condone. But he said, well, I don't have an evidence of a crime, but the crime isn't the issue. So if people don't, I get it. I think that those people, it was right to arrest them. It was right to investigate them. They were detained for, I think, 70 plus days. But this is still the U.S. You can't detain someone without a charge. So, I don't know if you got a chance to read or watch the debate itself, but I think it would benefit from some people to at least research the topic.
Yeah, I've not had time to really look at that, but yeah, I think people just need to kind of research certain things before they say it. But I think a lot of people don't want to research. What they want to do is just kind of be edgy and say things that um, will just, like I said, just be edgy. That's pretty much the main thing.
Well, I think the edginess is part of it, but I think that they're sincere in a lot of what they're talking. And I know that you don't agree with them about the gay agenda and everything, but after about 5 or 6 meetings where they've done this to Charlie Kirk, who I personally am not a fan of his. I know that you're a friend of his, but at a certain point, this becomes just vexatious. I guess heckling. If you go to the same person's events all the time and you ask him the same questions and he's not really there to engage with those questions, okay, so you've proven that he doesn't want to engage with those questions. That's great, but where do you go from there?
Yeah.
And do you so I think that the person who's doing it, Fuentes, I don't agree with him on probably 75% of issues. Of course, I agree on the border. I agree on a lot of the issues with regards to the education system and things like that. But, I think that he's trying to get ahead by tearing one other person down. But in the end, a lot of the times these people who do that, they end up getting torn apart by people on their own side. That's what happened with Jared Taylor a couple of years back, who is, he's open about being a white nationalist, but, it's like, I'm a total freedom of speech person. I do believe in a lot more libertarianism than conservatism, but eventually I think these people, if they don't want to form their own movement and the GOP doesn't want them in their movement, what exactly is their goal? And then I see people like yelling at you in the chat that you're a grifter and all that crap, but like one of them keeps sending you super chats. So are you trying to help Anthony Logan grift, or what's the goal here?
Yeah, like what is the actual end game? That's my thing, because it's like, okay, but like they're saying that they've succeeded, they're winning. It's like winning at doing what? Being able to troll and get attention. I mean, what do you do aside from that? Where's your movement? Where's your actual your leadership summit? Where's your culture war event? Like, start your own thing, have your own events. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. You don't got to keep trying to crash somebody else's event. And this is always just one person, or that person with other people. Charlie Kirk and Rob Smith, Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump Jr. and Kim. Now you didn't get Kim upset. It's like, come on, that could be the first lady in the future. People don't think at all. They're just so wrapped up in trying to get some attention for being edgy and being silly. They're not thinking about anything else. No end goal, no future, no nothing. Just attention.
Well, I think, to be honest, and I see SOBCs in the chat too, so I do think that Charlie has handled it. He doesn't seem to be really trying to, answer the question, because he doesn't want to answer the question. But I don't really care if people go and heckle. I'm just saying that, if they want to discuss these issues, they should look for people that are really interested in them.
Yeah.
I would be perfectly fine. I've debated people on that issue. As far as the USS Liberty, I don't think that there's much debate, because if people, they want to continue to talk about an incident that happened 52 years ago, and, what do they want to do about it? Unfortunately, I think it's the same issue when people bring up old grudges, even regarding either slavery or the Holocaust, and they want to use it to promote agendas. Yeah. I disagree with that too. And I know that you've done videos on it. Other people have done videos on it.
I mean, Pearl Harbor, Rape at Nanking. I mean, we can go on and on and on with all kind of atrocities that have happened, all kind of military things, all kind of war. Like, we can talk about all of that. World War I, World War II. I mean, where did we stop?
Right. So, I just wanted to put it out there that I have debated the topic of the dancing Israelis. If anyone wants to engage with me, I did send it to ABL. And, I think that if people, it's the same thing. They used to do this to Peterson. They used to ask him questions about race and IQ and I think Agenda 21. And people have to understand, he's a clinical psychologist. Most of his material doesn't necessarily have to do with that. And most of his lectures don't really deal with that. And then they go to his lectures and they try to get they literally try to steer the conversation to a topic that's theirs, and it's not the lecturers. And I think, I get it that it's kind of weird that Charlie Kirk doesn't even try to answer those questions, but after 7 or 8 times that you've gone to his events and done it, I mean, how many times before it just looks repetitive?
Yeah, at a certain point, it's called stalking. When it's one-sided like that, it's called stalking.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I respect you. I respect, I don't really affiliate with organizations, so I'm not really into turning points. But, I think that this whole accusation of being a grifter, I mean, everyone wants money, right? If you're not trying to get, to make money and build a living for yourself, build a family, or build a, career, then really if you're just doing it in order to be altruistic, you just open up yourself to be audited by the public. So eventually, a lot of these people, once they get into politics, are they going to be grifters too if they're trying to run for office and draw a salary? Is everyone supposed to be a volunteer?
Exactly. I mean, the whole term grifter is just that's one of these words on the internet. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just kind of a silly thing to try to attack somebody because everybody's talking about it. It's just kind of just groupthink, mindless culture, no individuality, people just acting as a group. But hey, I mean, it's been a great call, but we kind of long on time. I gotta get to a few more.
Yeah, and thanks a lot. And SOBC is saying race and IQ doesn't exist. He should ask the Groypers that. A lot of them believe that.
Yeah.
A lot. Well, I don't know if all of them, but a lot of them do believe in that.
That's right.
All right. Have a great day, and good to see you again.
Likewise, man. Thank you for the call.
Bye-bye.
Shout out to my man Ramon for the call, aka Boat Like a Leopard, and sorry for the ringing in your ear. I forgot to turn my sound down. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Shout out to my man Mana Jamal in the chat. Y'all go ahead and subscribe to his channel. Great dude right there. But yeah, I mean, at a certain point, look, if you are consistently if you go into somebody's event over and over and over and over and over and over again, asking the same questions, not getting any kind of responses, not getting any kind of engagement, that's called stalking. It's like guys that, try to contact a girl over and over and over again with no response. It's like, what are you doing? Leave her alone. She don't want to talk to you. That's called stalking. Back off. Simple. All right, Matt, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
Yeah, Mark Zaid was my lawyer back in the day, long time ago.
Okay, so let the people in the chat know who that is if they don't know.
Mark Zaid is, I think he's from Princeton. He's a Washington, D.C. attorney, and he works for a law firm that represents a lot of people in government.
And he is the lawyer of who now?
Well, we don't know who, right?
The person,
the guy Don Jr.
Yeah, the person who shall remain nameless, the so-called whistleblower. Yeah, that guy. So
who Schiff now says that he doesn't know who it is, which is that's pretty unbelievable to me.
That's crazy. I mean, I saw that story on PBS, CNN, like 2 months ago that they had a conversation. So yeah. I don't see how he's trying to say that he didn't. And then my thing is, okay, if you don't know who the guy is, then how are you going to actually defend him? How are you going to keep his name from getting out there if you don't know what the name is? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't see what the big deal about knowing who it is. Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning are whistleblowers, and I didn't hear anybody saying, "Well, we shouldn't know who they were."
That's right.
What's his name? Ellsworth, Daniel Ellsworth, the publisher of the Pentagon Papers. I mean, we know who he was. I'm not seeing what the big deal is.
Right.
Yeah, especially on this. I mean, like, if anything, if you knew who he was, it's not like he's going to be, the MAGA hat wearing kid.
Right.
We all know who. What's his name?
Nick Sandman.
Sandman, yeah. I am a veteran. I did 3 deployments to the Middle East, and after my 3rd one, I decided I wasn't going to take the anthrax vaccine. And Mark Zaid was an attorney that heard about my case of my vaccine refusal, and he wanted to represent me pro bono. And basically what he wanted me to do was get his law firm media attention. The media was calling the house, CNN, and there was a girl that was like sort of like she denied the vaccine based on religious grounds right before me, and they nailed her ass to the wall. So I went around him and I wrote my MAGCOM commander a letter just saying, hey, I just want to, I did my 6 years. I can't even get vaccinated. I don't want to take the shot. I only got a couple months left of my enlistment. Let me out. And he said, sure, go ahead, get out. Just don't tell anybody about, don't evangelize you not wanting to take the vaccine.
Wow.
And there's a real interesting, so Mueller is tied to this story too. So Robert Mueller, I was stationed at McGuire Air Force Base in New Jersey, and the post office that I got my mail from was in Hamilton, New Jersey. And Hamilton, New Jersey was basically the distribution center for all the anthrax letters that went out. And my upstairs neighbor, I was renting an apartment in Burlington. My upstairs neighbor, she had gotten anthrax. She actually got it from the letters. And she took antibiotics, and she went back to work a couple days later. And we still don't really know who actually attacked us with the letters.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so Robert Mueller was actually in charge of that whole investigation, and he ended up targeting the wrong guy. He ended up arresting a virologist from Michigan. No, he was from Maryland. Excuse me, from Maryland. And that virologist, he pegged it on him by getting dogs to smell the letters after they had been through all the distribution places, after tons of people had handled them. He ended up getting dogs to smell the letters, and the guy that the dogs triggered to, indicated to, he knew the dogs and petted them frequently. So when the dogs sat down, Mueller said, we got our guy, and ended up arresting this guy, ruining his whole life. The guy nearly committed suicide, and it ended up being a different guy that worked at Fort Detrick that ended up sending the letters out, allegedly, but he got suicided a la Epstein.
Good grief. Wow.
So I don't think we still know who actually sent the letters out, but Mueller, you could read about Mueller's whole ham-handed approach to the anthrax, like it was an actual attack on U.S. soil, an act of terrorism following September 11th. And he just ham-handed the whole thing. I don't know how he ever was put in charge of another investigation or was given any sort of credence or credibility beyond that.
Yeah, that seems like that's a terrible way to handle that situation. So you're right. I don't know how he was able to get anything beyond that, but that's government for you. They're not always doing things that make any sense.
And it's all Democrat government too. I just pulled up the stat. 76, like you were talking about Virginia and that area, 76% of Virginia is registered Democrat. Only 6% is registered Republican. It's perma-Democrat area, regardless of what the administration is. And this thing in regards to Epstein and Pizzagate and all that stuff, this Mark Zaid, so Zero Hedge, again, I'm only referencing an article that I read and not my personal opinion of Mark Zaid. And, he only represented me for maybe a month. But this is the whistleblower's attorney. The guy goes to Disneyland by himself and has bragged about getting pedos security clearances. And he, I didn't get any of that, back in 2003 from him, so I can't say from personal, but pull that thread, man. And I'm telling you, this.
Washington, yeah, I saw that. So it's like, okay, you got this middle-aged guy with no kids or nothing, goes to the Disney park by himself, then also he had allegedly a YouTube account on a YouTube account, you were able to see his liked videos.
I
And
went to that myself. It's true.
yeah,
He's got like liked video, like, so again, like to give him, well, he doesn't have kids, so maybe he's got like a niece that uses his YouTube channel or something like that. I don't know, but on his Instagram, he's got like all these like trips that he went to Disneyland by himself, and he sees all these shows. I mean, these really infantile things, and the guy is just too smart for that. Like
see now you're getting into some of the deep state stuff. This is kind of how they operate, like the deep swamp. It's how these people are, and a lot of these things that happen in the news, kids come up missing and stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like that would be responsible. You saw what happened with Ed Buck in Hollywood or West Hollywood, wherever he was, where he was he had this drug den where he was injecting black men with drugs to see their reaction. Okay, now in the normal world that's ridiculous, but in their world, and there's big money, leftist, crazy, that's to them, that's what they do. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Like a bunch of people die at his house and stuff. And,
you had 2 people that died in 1 year.
Yeah. So this, I think this Epstein thing, if it doesn't red pill people, I don't know what the heck it will. But Zayd is friends with the Podesta brothers. Like the attorneys are friends with the connected to the Clintons and the Podesta brothers.
See, I think that's probably why Epstein had to get suicided, because if you get him to flip, all of that comes unraveled. The wall comes tumbling down, and the facade that you see in DC, all the big buildings, all this, that stuff all come down, and then you see what's really going on behind the scenes, and people don't want that to happen.
Yeah, and do you think the burden of proof is different when it comes to kids? I'm not in the camp that you have to prove your innocence from that, because again, there's like in history there's been some witch hunts in that regard, but I think you almost got to prove your innocence when it comes to kids. I don't know why people aren't pulling out all the stops to like run all that investigation aground. I'm really surprised.
Well, I mean, I'll say this, and then I'll get to my next call. I think that you still got to be able to prove that somebody did something, because you could have a poor guy that got set up, or it might look like it's something but it's not, and then when you put that label on somebody, even if they don't get convicted, their life is over. So, but once you find once you find some proof, some evidence, you got to prosecute to the fullest extent. It can't be this, you can go do weekend jail like Epstein had at first. It can be done. You got to go under the penitentiary and don't come out. So thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, be good.
All right, now. Shout out to my man Matt for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. Yeah, if you get caught doing something like that, you got to go away. 1,000%, and you can't come back. It is what it is. All right. Yeah, that deep state stuff, that stuff is real. It's no game. And people are starting to see it more and more. Like my man Matt said, if the Epstein thing didn't red pill you, I don't know what's going on. You're seeing what's happening right in real time, right in front of your very eyes. It's very simple. But let me get to the next call here. Let's go. All right, Jordan, what's happening?
Nothing much, ABL. Yourself?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
Can you hear me?
I hear you well.
You can hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Good. There might be a delay.
Well, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, you're fine.
Okay, all right. That's better. How's everything?
Everything good, man. Can't complain.
That's a goodie. You know about Evo Morales, the president, or the former president of Bolivia.
I don't know who that is. No.
Yeah, the former president of Bolivia has resigned for allegations that he was tampering with elections that year.
Wow.
Yeah, and then he was a self-proclaimed socialist. What else? He was actually kind of liked by his people, but at the same time, he was criticized by both sides, because the conservative side will obviously criticize him for his left-leaning policies, and then the left actually criticized him because he didn't go far enough to the left, and now he's resigning because of corruption allegations, and that's typically what you see in these socialist countries. Like if you looked at Zimbabwe before Mugabe stopped being president and died. He was a self-proclaimed socialist, and when he was running an election in 2008 against his opponent, he basically said, "You either vote for me or you die." And so that's a common trend, blatant corruption. In like other societies, like the United States, it would be more subtle. Like there will be people who will be actually be afraid to do it publicly. But in those other societies, it seems like people just do it and think there's no problem doing it. It's amazing. But that happened. So if anyone was interested, there you go.
All right.
And I wanted to talk about the whole. Do you want to talk about the TPUSA thing, or do you want to move on to other subjects? Because I think there's something that needs to be mentioned that I don't think is mentioned here.
Go for it. Go ahead.
Okay. So you still assert that the reason why people are the groypers, as they're now called, are heckling Donald Trump Jr. and Charlie Kirk and those guys is just because of attention, yes?
Well, the main reason okay. You have the guy Nick who's leading the whole charge.
Yep.
His reason is because he's envious of Charlie. He wants to be Charlie. I know that for a fact because I've been watching what's going on. That's what's happening, and I've seen it before with other people. So this ain't the first time I've seen it. This is a pattern of behavior that I see, and the people that are out there doing it, their whole thing is to get attention for themselves and also from Nick and also from others in the community that follow him. That's what I see going on. But how do you see it?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because when you think about a troll is someone who wants to bring out people's true selves. Like, you can compare it to somebody like the Joker from The Dark Knight, somebody like that. And I feel like it's a mix between trolling and people who think that the biggest representatives of conservatism aren't true conservatists, which is why they attacked Rob Smith for the whole homosexuality thing. Mm-hmm. I think that's what they accomplished when it came to Kim, because she started talking about, when they were yelling, she started talking about the whole "you all are online daters" thing, which is kind of another term for, I don't know.
Incel. She was right. Because I thought I had the same idea in my mind.
Well, you think she was right?
I think so because it's the energy. It's like, and I'm gonna explain what I mean by that. So you got to understand the psychology of somebody like that. Somebody that, when they can't get something, they want to get upset. When they feel like they are owed something from somebody. Like a lot of these guys that are out here having girl problems, they feel like they're owed something from the person that they want. And since they can't get it, then they want to rage. That's that kind of energy. So maybe they're not necessarily online daters or directly incels, but it's the same type of energy that I feel entitled. I'm not getting it, so I'm gonna throw a fit.
Okay, so it's just a matter of entitlement. All right, because I mean the term incel itself, it wasn't accurate, and it just has that much of a negative connotation.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole mindset of entitlement. Yeah, I see that. But regardless of your position on that, these people are a problem for TPUSA, because whether it's the same people in it or different people, these people are gonna continue doing this, and something has to be done. I don't know what you think should happen.
Wait them out, because they're gonna stop at a certain point, because it's like you're not getting anywhere. Okay, if you keep banging your head against the wall over and over again, and you're not getting your desired result, at a certain point you can be like, okay, that was fun, I tried it, but nothing really happened. They are not accomplishing anything. People say, okay, they're winning, they get attention. Okay, you keep asking the same questions over and over again. You don't have your own events. You don't have your own clubs. You don't have your own organizations. You have nothing. All you have is the ability to go out there and disrupt other people's things. What's going to happen is, probably before they get worn out, is that somebody big among them, maybe even Nick himself, will get exposed, and then it'll be over.
Yeah, one of your moderators made a great point. Sounds like they went so far right they ended up left.
Correct. That's right.
Yeah.
And I've said that before. I've said that, your political spectrum is a circle. Okay. I said this even before all this Nick stuff happened. It's just a fact. Okay. Now a circle, if you look at the bottom of the circle in the center, that is the center where everybody is, left and right, people that don't really adhere to politics, just a regular person that's not left or right in the center. And I think most people that kind of feel political are either center right or center left. So you're to the right or the left of that center mark. Then once you get to like the 90-degree mark, like right or 180 in the middle of the circle, straight across, at that point you are confirmed left or confirmed right. Then once you get to the top, once you do a full 360 degrees from the very beginning, at that point you are far out, far left and far right. That's where the far left and the far right converge, and you become the same thing. Because outside of the events, you have people that are protesting, screaming and hollering and fussing at Charlie and everything. On the inside, people doing the same thing. Inside, they say they're the conservatives. They got on MAGA hats. Outside, they say they're liberals. But they're really doing the same thing. In essence, they're disrupting the event. It's the same. Like when you look on the outside, if you don't know the history of who the grapers are or who the protesters on the outside are, they appear to be the same people because in essence, they are the same people. Far left and far right are not much different.
Yeah, that seems to be what's going on here. And my last point before I go, this is getting public traction, and which is why I said these people are a problem, because now CNN's making videos about this, and and Nick also seems to be getting a big piece of the pie now that he's getting more attention and more people watching this stuff, to the point where Kathy Zhu was in. If you know Kathy Zhu, that Asian girl who's conservative, had to go in the chat on one of his shows and try to get those people to calm down, and only to accelerate them even more. So that seems to be what's happening. But that's all I got to say. So I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Now, what happened with Kathy Zhu? I kind of missed that. She went into the chat and then it accelerated no more?
She was in the chat. If you go back to Nick Fuentes' America First videos, he has a channel with about like 65,000 subscribers. Yeah. If you look at the chat while he's doing it, you'll see Kathy Zhu's actual official channel.
Okay.
And she's in the chat trying to say, why are y'all people trying to divide the right? And then the people responding to her talk about feet and get back to the kitchen and all sorts of stuff.
I told you, man, incel energy. You talking about her feet? I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like that's exactly what I'm saying. I know when I see it. I feel like I'm an old guy, man. I feel like I've been here before. I've seen these same things over and over.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it from when I was young, like them. So it's to me, it's just like a repeat. It's a repeat. It's not anything new.
That seems to be what's happening, man. All right. Well, I'm gonna head on out. I got to study. So I'll talk to you later. I'll be in chat for a while.
All right. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Peace.
Peace. All right. Thank you to my man Jordan for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. Yeah. You know, I mean, like the truth is most people in the country are center right, center left. Like, okay, if the circle is like this and the center is down here, most people are like right within the cone of the center. That's the average person. Most people don't know about politics at all. They don't know who George Washington is for real. They just don't, like, the average person is not really even into that. Okay. A movement like what Trump did captured the hearts and the minds of many because it was inclusive. You know, it included everybody. It was not divisive. When you're trying to be divisive and trolling and attacking, at that point, all you do is repel people. And those that stick with you are going to be those that kind of find a common interest with you. They feel kind of rejected by society, rejected by certain people, and you kind of coalesce around that. But once you go out there in the world, these people don't amount to a large number. We're talking about trying to attract millions. These people don't really think too far. I'm a far thinker. A lot of folks don't think far. They think for the right, and I think right in front of the short-term, short-minded people. But let me get to the next call. All right. All right, call in on the line, 617. Who am I speaking to?
Yes, it's Ivan, man.
Ivan, what's going on?
Yeah, your two previous callers. The first one, pretty smart, with the one that's talking about Israel, pretty smart. The second caller that said that the whistleblower don't matter. The whistleblower information matter. I don't think the whistleblower is irrelevant now. We have whistleblowers before, and we never focus on the whistleblower. We focus on the content. Snowden, and I can't remember the other guy that reported the whistleblower from Fast and Furious. We never care who they were. We never care if they were connected to any political party. We just care about the content that they were providing, and then the content appears to be true.
Well, we didn't care because we didn't care because we did know who they were. There was no question about who they were. We know their names. We don't know this person's name.
We didn't know who they were. We didn't know who Snowden were until pretty much some WikiLeaks, they leaked that information, and he said that Obama signed an authorization to expand information about they were searching out, there were phone calls, they were listening to our conversations, and then the Obama administration said this program has worked to catch terrorists or people to cash in, people want to pretty much commit a crime or do a terrorist act. So that was his argument, but that was illegal under the law, and nobody cared who he was. Like who cares? I mean, he had to leave the country because he signed a document that said they couldn't reveal any information. The other guy from Fast and Furious, when the guy from the Border Patrol got killed, he came out and said that there was some wrongdoing. He reported it 3 times, and then they were saying because they did it because that we helped them to catch the bad guys from Mexico, with the guns and stuff like that. But nobody cares. Now all of a sudden we care more about the whistleblower than the information that he gave, that they report. I mean, the people on the right, they just care about who's the whistleblower. We need to. Now
I'm gonna tell you why it matters though. The reason why it matters is because this person has some connections that seems like it could be a conflict of interest. I mean, you got a lawyer that's in some weird stuff. He wanted to start the coup with Donald Trump. He said it on Twitter, and then you in cahoots with Joe Biden. You ran the CIA. It seems like you need to talk to that guy because he could be. Hold on, sir. I gotta finish, sir. I gotta finish. He could be a material witness for the whole situation with Ukraine. That's why it's important because of who he is and his connections. That's the main thing that we're talking about here.
Okay, let's focus one thing at a time. What the whistleblower report appear to be true or not, in base of the evidence, the testimony that people from the Trump administration are giving, appear it is to be true or not?
What
the whistleblower reported to the Inspector General, right? What he reported appears to be true or not in base of the testimony that people that were in the Trump administration.
Well, what did he report exactly?
He reported that the president holded funds, holded the
word is held. He held.
That's what I'm saying. So he held it, and then say he won't give it any of the funds until they find something on Biden embarrassment. So it's true, right?
No, that's not true.
It's true so far.
No.
How come it's not true? And then the 5 people.
Where's the evidence?
Testify.
Okay.
To be true.
Trump said, sir. Trump said, sir. I'm talking. Trump said that it was no quid pro quo. The president of Ukraine said that there was no quid pro quo. There's no quid pro quo in the actual transcript that we see. So what do we have here? We don't have much of anything.
So we have the ambassador. We have the ambassador. We got people that work in the Ukraine from the United States that say that it is true.
So why do you believe the ambassador, the former ambassador, over the Well, sir, you can't even.
I would believe the ambassador.
I gotta be able to say the question. You don't know what I'm going to say. Matter of fact, what was I going to say? Since you know, what was I going to ask?
I don't know what you want to ask.
All right, exactly. So why you cut me off then? How about you be quiet for a minute?
But you said.
Okay, I'm gonna talk now. Why would you believe the ambassador over the president of Ukraine?
Well, the president of Ukraine, he said, was under tremendous pressure. So
the ambassador isn't?
No, because the ambassador from the United States.
No pressure?
Ambassador from the United States in Ukraine. I'm not talking about.
So wait a minute. So if hold on. If the president if Ukraine is under pressure, why would the ambassador or the former ambassador not be under pressure? Isn't it a high pressure situation for everybody involved?
No,
Wait a minute, isn't everybody under pressure?
No, not really.
So I mean, so how is the Ukrainian president under pressure, but the former ambassador is not?
Because he was going to receive the aid because his people were getting killed. If you piss off Trump and he doesn't send the aid or he puts some serious restrictions, what happened?
Well, the aid was already released, so why would there be pressure there?
Was released because, well, that could be future repercussions.
No. You're saying, okay, he was under pressure. That's why you said that there was no quid pro quo. But by the time he said it, but hold on. But by the time he said there was no quid pro quo, the aid was already released. So what you just said was false.
Do you know what kind of future repercussion Trump can do to the president of Ukraine?
Now you're changing it. Now you're changing your argument. Let's just stick with one argument. First, you said that he was under pressure because the aid hadn't been released. Then I told you, well, the aid had already been released. Then he said that there was no quid pro quo. So I mean, and then especially wait, hold on. See, look, check it out. I'm talking. You got to pause. Now, if there's to be any kind of future pressure on the Ukrainian president, that'd just be terrible because now you'd have put conversations out there. It's all in the news. Everybody's going to be watching the U.S. and the Ukraine and how they have relations. Everything will be looked through with the fine-tooth comb. So the president can't do anything weird or outside of the ordinary with Ukraine because there's so much pressure on him to do right, and there's a lot of eyes on the situation as well.
Why the White House is Whitman, the general from the Army that works as a national security advisor, reported to the lawyers in the White House 3 times. Why these lawyers are ignoring the subpoenas? You ignore a subpoena, they could give you at least 12 months in prison. Why they ignore?
Wait a minute.
Why the attorney general is not acting in good faith in this case?
But it's not illegal for it. They're not doing anything illegal.
No. Answer yes or no.
Why? Because they don't want to.
Why they don't want to collaborate?
Because they don't have to.
What do you mean they don't have to? You're getting a subpoena. What do you mean you don't have to?
You don't have to. Look, if you had to, then they would, but you don't.
You have to.
No, you don't.
To collaborate with.
Well, if they do, then they're gonna get locked up. But they've not been locked up yet.
Well, because the attorney general is not acting. If the attorney general
look, I'm gonna just say what I gotta say. You don't have to. They can come if they want to, but they don't have to. Now, if they have to, then they would be there, but they don't, so they're not. It's simple as that. It's not a really hard thing to understand.
Why you think John Bolton said, I will testify, at least I'm cleared by at least I'm mandated by the court because Trump is blocking him.
You said
why
what?
Are they blocking me? Why are they blocking information? Why, if everything is fine as he claimed, as if we should believe the president should come clean and say, hey, you could send 1,000 subpoenas, everybody want to testify. I'm clean, I didn't do anything wrong. You want the server? Take the server with you. Why doesn't do that? Because he knows that, Commander. You know he knows. Let me, okay. In base of Trump behavior is questionable. Trump behavior is very questionable, bro.
And that's your opinion, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own
opinion. No, it's not my opinion. Yesterday, he got fined by the court in New York, the federal court in New York, because pretty much the way they was handling his nonprofit organization, it was doing illegal activity with his nonprofit.
So what did he do that was wrong?
He promised that he was going to give all the profit from his book to a charity, to a cancer charity. You know what he did? He stopped giving the profit from his book, started bringing billionaires. He was taking his money, and he said it was the money he was donating to the charity. He got fined by $2 million. Look it up.
Okay, so how much money went to the charity? How much didn't?
I don't know how much.
All right, so you don't know. It could have been like 99% of the money went to the charity, and then 1% didn't. You don't know anything.
$20.
So it could be he could have given $1 million, but $20 went somewhere else, and that's bad. And you want to say that's questionable character? Okay, hey, this has been fun, but sir, this has been fun, but we're at the time limit, so I got to get to my next call. Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you. All right, shout out to Ivan. I mean, I'm saying we got to get our facts right. That's all I'm saying. Like, if you're going to say somebody did something wrong, all this, that, and the third, get our facts right, and then we can have a conversation. But if you don't got your facts right, then you got to just tighten up before you come holler at me. But 100% with the charity? Exactly. That's what I thought. Yeah, we got to get our facts right before we come up here and start talking crazy. But let me get to the next call. 423, you on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Zachary Clark. How are you doing, buddy?
Everything's great. How about yourself?
Wonderful. I'm getting nauseous from watching that so-called blockbuster all day.
Yeah, that whole thing, it was crazy, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that kind of reminded me of the time when Blockbuster was a real store where you could go in and rent movies. I remember they had that in my local area.
Oh yeah.
Well, the two main things that I got from the whole thing is that basically the only quarrel that these people apparently had with President Trump is not necessarily whether or not he committed a crime, because when pressed to ask what crime do you think that he committed, what impeachable offense did he commit, they couldn't not only name it, they said it wasn't their job today. It wasn't their job to come here to prove. It wasn't their job. They were not there to prove whether or not President Trump committed an impeachable offense. That blew my mind. I was like, and when I heard that, I said, then what's the point of this hearing? This is the impeachment hearing. Schiff called you two in because he thinks your testimony will help prove that President Trump committed an offense worthy of impeachment and removal from office. And these two star witnesses said, well, we're not here to do that. We're not here to prove anything.
Right, exactly. I mean, that whole thing is crazy. It's like, okay, if you're not here to do that, then what is the purpose of this? It's just like a dog and pony show, just a political performance for television to get some ratings. Why are we actually here?
The whole point, and the thing that basically is that the whole quarrel that these two people had with President Trump is that he refused to hand over his Article 2, Section 2 authority over to these unelected bureaucrats. They think that they know better than the President of the United States. They've had this ego all the way back to the 1960s, ever since, the Cold War. They somehow think that the Cold War is still going on. They think that they know better, that they should control foreign policy, that the president should only do what they tell them that they should do, and that the president should just go along with their advice. No. President Trump is commander-in-chief. He is almost supreme authority over foreign policy, and not these unelected bureaucrats. And instead of executing what the commander-in-chief orders them to do, they do this to undermine him.
That's right.
I mean, this absolutely makes no sense. And the other thing that was funny was I saw this tweet after I think it was a Republican congressman basically asked one of them saying, what was it? Oh yeah, basically, should Burisma be reinvestigated? Probably they should. We're trying to kill off an investigation. I mean, this whole impeachment hearing is a sham. I used to be Democrat, and I speak Democratic speak, and I do not understand how any of them can think that today was a success.
Right.
Brian Stelter talked about, this needs to be a blockbuster. This needs to be, epic television. Well, this is not only a boring snotfest, but this tells me about what the other hearings are going to be. These are the two main people that Adam Schiff had basically based his claim that Trump did this on. And not only didn't they not hear the call, not only did they not meet the president, they claim to have heard it from 6 different people who got a source from the New York Times.
Wow.
And they think, well, that's necessary evidence to prove that President Trump committed an impeachable crime. This is nonsense.
It's total nonsense. It's not how that works. You can't just say, oh, well, I heard it in the news and I heard it from a friend of mine and, my brother, sister, uncle, cousin, and my granddad told me 10 years ago. And it's like, come on, man. Like, let's get some real evidence. If you were to go to court and try to convict somebody on that, you would get nowhere. You would get laughed out of court.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is basically the Democrats and the deep state and the intelligence community trying to take a basic crack, no offense, over the Constitution of the United States and to undermine the legitimate constitutional authority of the head of the executive branch, the President of the United States. And we need to stand up to this type of tyranny within the deep state. But that's all I basically wanted to say.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Definitely appreciate you.
All right, now.
All right.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate him. And thank you all for calling the show. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Let me get to the next call. Let's go. 815, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, I didn't think you were actually going to answer.
Yes. I got a little bit of feedback in the background. Can you turn it down for me?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
Hi, ABL. My name is Devin, and I just wanted to say hello. That's all.
Well, I thank you for calling the show. Hopefully you enjoying what you're hearing so far. Hopefully you enjoy the channel.
Yeah, you know what? I had a thing happen where I saw you in a meme on a page called Californians for Trump, and I commented. I tried to tag you because I follow you on Facebook, and then my aunt, my godmother, actually, she commented something rude. She saw the comment. She commented something rude, and I was so mad that I replied to her saying, "Don't call my friends names," and I referred to you as my friend, even though you don't know who I am. But I hope it's okay that I called you my friend.
That's totally fine.
Okay, that's all I wanted to say. It's ABL. Thank you. I appreciate what you do, and we watch you every night.
Well, I thank you for your call and your support as always.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Same to you now.
Bye-bye.
Oh, shout out to her. Thank you for defending me. I appreciate that. People out there talking crazy. And the meme was probably me when I was in the airport, had my hat on. I've seen that floating around. Or it could have been something else. Who knows? I've been in a few memes. But that's part of the reason why I'm out here, I guess, is because people say that I can't exist. It's like, nah, we exist. So a lot of us is out here. We exist. And I'm going to give you some real information that you got to hear. So thank you for the call and your support. I definitely appreciate you. Alrighty. So we got a whole lot going on. I'm going to get to a few more calls. The lines are jumping. Super chats and everything jumping too. But let me get to the call here. All right. Unknown caller on the line. Who am I speaking to?
John in Canada.
Alrighty, John. What's happening?
Hey, not too much, man. How about you guys?
Everything's great, man. Can't complain. I got a little bit of feedback in the background. If you could please turn it down for me.
Okay, yeah. I got the sound going here, yeah. So am I online here or am I online?
You're live on the air.
Hey, right on. That's great. Listen, I just want to take a hats off to you guys, and I just want to think that your president down there in the States is doing a fantastic job of trying to keep all the ducks in a row that are kicking up all the stink in the background there. And also, I just want to say, for our guy in Canada here, Don Sherry, he's always done everything for our troops up here and as well as in the States, and we consider him a hero up here, most people in Canada. So that's all I got to say, and thanks very much for your time there, okay?
All right. Thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, shout out to all the Canadians. You guys are always great, always nice to me. So shout out to all you guys. I know it can be kind of hard being conservative in certain places. Like if you go to Toronto, it can be kind of hard being conservative. But I appreciate you guys for just being who you are. Alrighty. And shout out to the super chatters. I'm going to get to you guys, read some of these super chats, and then I'm going to get back to the calls. Let me see. Let me refresh right quick. Shout out to My man Killer Sushi 99, who says the timeline tells the story. Jim Jordan went from date to date. There's nothing wrong with the call between Trump and Ukraine. The money was released and nothing happened in regards to the Bidens. Exactly. You know, people say, oh, it was a quid pro quo. He said, yo, you got to investigate the Bidens. If you don't, you won't get the money. But there was no investigation and the money got released. So how can there be a quid pro quo? It doesn't make any sense. Thank you for your donation. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Big Deej, who says, love what you are doing. Keep it up. Most certainly will do. Thank you for your donation and your support. Thank you to Mike Collins, who says, you can't take it with you. Show some love, people. Give a buck. Hey, I thank you for that, man. That's some great words of advice as well. I appreciate you. Shout out to Beach Jedi 101, who says, thanks for this great channel. Always consistent with the peace sign. Hey, I thank you for that. I most certainly appreciate your donation and your very kind words. Thank you to Jay Seja. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name, boss, who says, don't sing it, bring it. Hey, there you go. Wise words to live by. Thank you for that. Shout out to Tony Moore for your donation. I definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Mike Collins for your donation, who says, come on, people, show support, give a buck. Hey, I appreciate you yet again for your donation. And thank you to my man, Boat Like a Leopard, a.k.a. Ramon, who says, thanks for grifting ABL. By the way, I'm banned on Twitter. What happened, man? How you get banned on Twitter? But thank you for your donation, man. Definitely appreciate you. And I'm going to get back to the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. It's right there below me on the little ticker. Also in the description box below. But let me get to the next call. And that's going to be 318. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, ABL. Hey.
Yes.
How's it going, man?
Everything's great, man. I can't complain.
It's Techno. I kept calling in because I wanted to find out. I think he was either coming back from BLEXIT or something. Did you see the video? It was a live stream that Millie did the other day about some kind of she had her own kind of version of a whistleblower about the Kentucky election.
No, I didn't see that.
Dude, I like she couldn't give too much of the information out. But did you ever see, this was like 1 or 2 years ago on InfoWars, it was only on like one time, they featured this old lady. She's got a website called blackboxvoting.org or something. And in there's like a documentary, if you look up on the YouTube channel, about what she's talking about. And it was talking about these computer voting systems. And she had a gentleman with her that was like a coder. And I think if you watch the documentary, it goes into more explanation. But basically, the coder made a short version of a software that actually, or they proved that it existed and showed something called fractional voting in this documentary. Well, their whistleblower brought something up like that, and it has something to do with something called fractional voting. And basically, whenever they have somebody that they want to show like they won an election, they don't make it like a landslide. You know, it's kind of like it's people that cheat on tests. If you see it in the movies or something, they don't want to make like the straight A's. You know what I mean? They have to have sort of a score or a grade that's kind of looks convincing, right?
Okay.
So the same thing happens in these elections. But in this data reveal, they got a dump of somebody on the inside that works, from what I understand, that worked with the Kentucky voting people. He got documents scanned that were like cut from a shredder. And they taped them all back together and scanned them. And they said, we have so much stuff. And they gave us a little bit of information, like some of the companies that are involved. And they said, but we're scared the type of stuff that we have. You know, they don't want to just go to anybody. And they don't know if they can go to the authorities because they don't know if they're in on it in Kentucky. But basically, it's proof of how they fixed this. And the blackboxvoting.org, it sounded very similar to that. She had her and then a friend of hers that helped her scan all the stuff. She's kind of a techie friend, and she was kind of helping her decode it. And they went over it for hours. But it's a couple days ago, live stream. It might still be on her channel, but I don't know. But I didn't know if you've heard it, but you maybe get a chance, maybe look into it. I think it's interesting, but I don't know where she's going to leave the information. And everybody was saying, like, you know, bring it to Project Veritas or whatever. But I just wonder, like, what's your take on that? Do you think that vote was, for whatever reason, a lot of people thought like the guy didn't concede. A lot of people thought that it was, kind of it was fake or something went on. You know, did you read anything about that or hear anything about that?
Yeah, I've been hearing about that. You know, I'm seeing things online. Somebody talking about they cut up some ballots. Like, I'm seeing a lot of different things about that election. And one thing that I heard, when I was in Atlanta on Friday for the Black Voices for Trump event, overheard somebody talking, and they were saying that you had 100,000 people in Kentucky that voted up and down for Republican ticket, and then when it came to the governor, they voted for the Democrat. So it doesn't make any sense. Something's going on with that, and there should be a full investigation to really figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Well, one part of it that I remember hearing from another source, it's something about, this lady that contacted somebody else had said something like her husband was an illegal immigrant, but he was legal, but he was still in the process of becoming a legal citizen, rather. And basically, whenever he registered for an ID, it's an automatic process where it registers him as a voter. And I didn't quite understand that aspect of it, but basically the person that gave the order to pass this act, it caused a bunch of people to get registered as voters, and a bunch of them, people that had actually moved out, and I know you've heard this, people that have moved out of the state and deregistered as voters had come up and they were re-registered, and a lot of them had been registered as Democrats. And I think that's part of it. But like I said, Millie Weaver, she might have some tips. I don't know if you have any contacts that know somebody that knows her, or personally, whatever, but she may be able, I don't know, to shed some light on it. I thought it was really intriguing, and there might be something to it. It's kind of spooky. And what the girl that was helping her, the techie person, kind of suggested, it may be a dry run for other elections coming up. And I was
it's definitely possible, because we got 2020 coming up, and like I was saying before, the Democrats are getting desperate. Al Green, the guy from Texas, came out on TV and said, if we don't impeach him, he's going to win. So when you got desperation like that going on, I would not be surprised if they were trying to engage in some kind of voter fraud to try and steal the election. That's not surprising at all.
Yeah. Everybody has to vote. Even if you don't feel like it. I think that's the most important part. We shouldn't sit on our laurels. The same thing happened to the Democrats with Hillary. I think a lot of the people just didn't vote, and I've seen a lot of street interviews. I know you've probably seen the same thing, and people say, "Oh, we didn't vote." And I'm like, "Dude, just vote." You know what I mean? And I think, I don't know. I wish that they would do some watchdogs at the polls too. Like, I think that helps at least put a little bit of pressure, just to kind of keep on and make the people that are maybe trying to pull wool over our eyes, kind of think that there's, people watching. You know what I mean? If they think that it's just like I said, this black box voting documentary, if you get a second, it's not very long, but it goes through and it has video evidence of another election that happened, and it shows the people that worked the election at the little building. People would be getting questioned, and they were taking the computers that have the votes on them out of the building. And it was on another an election for something else on the particular documentary. They were showing how this stuff can happen right under our noses, and it may or may not be because it's on computers. But the coder guy that helped the old lady that runs the website, showed how he could infiltrate the system remotely, and it has to do with a backdoor that the voting machine has to be able to tally votes. So yeah, there's a problem there, but it has more to do with the terrible people behind it. So people talking about paper ballots, I'm like, well, you've got terrible people working it, and there's no oversight, and I think that's one of the most important processes that we have, we have to at least try to protect it, because that's the end result of who runs our countries and who runs our states and stuff,
That's right.
But anyways, I just want to point that out to you because I know you were gone, and yeah, man, I don't know if you get a chance, maybe check it out, but I appreciate it. I just want to tell you that, man.
All right. Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, please keep doing what you're doing, man. I'll watch you as much as I can. I love it.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate you. All right, now.
Yeah. Y'all be good. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Yeah, that voter fraud is something real. And, that's why, people, they don't want voter ID to come into effect, because it'd be easier to engage in voter fraud. The same people that say that, oh, you don't need an ID and voter ID is racist, those same people will also say that voter fraud don't really happen. You understand? We'll say, hey, voter fraud is a real thing. If you don't have an ID, it's easier to engage in voter fraud. And the same folks that say voter ID is racist will then come and say, well, you're wrong. Voter fraud never happens. See, it's all BS. At the end of the day, they want that lane to be open so they can steal elections if it does not go their way. We saw Bernie Sanders get screwed out of the nomination in 2016. So who's to say that they won't screw Trump out of the election if they have the ability to do so? Gotta think about it. But let me get to the next call. Let's go 732. You know the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, man, it's Nicholas again, the great chicken sandwich debate.
What's going on, man?
Hey, man, somehow I always get on after Ivan, but I'm not here to talk about what he was talking about. Hey, my thing is, and again, hey, I love talking to you, man. I'm going to throw a shout out to Jericho Green. Everybody listening?
Yeah.
Tune in. It's definitely different from ABL. You're going to get some language. It's going to be colorful. But he says the truth. He definitely does that. So what I'm talking about is, and I don't want to drive a wedge in there because I know Lucas is your boy, but Lucas had a video today, and he didn't exactly go off, do a somersault or whatever on top of Candace Owens, but it was regarding police brutality. And again, you've talked about it, Jericho's talked about it, a lot of people have talked about it, and there are bad apples in every bunch, but I guess basically I want your take on it as far as police brutality and the magnifying glass that's been put upon it. And I'm sure I'm not an old guy, I'm not a young guy, I'm right there in the middle, but I'm sure in the past it was a huge issue. But the fact that the magnifying glass has been put on it now, it's making it look like it's to the extreme. It's bigger than it's ever been. What's your take on this, man?
All right. Now, I saw some of that video, and I saw what Candace Owens said, and I'm with her. This whole idea of police brutality being a serious issue is a myth. Does it happen? Maybe occasionally. I think she said it might have been 19 people, 19 black folks that got shot by police that were unarmed. And that doesn't mean that they were not 16, dangerous. Yeah, 16. And out of that 16, how many of them were actually not dangerous and didn't do anything? Just because you're unarmed does not mean that you're not dangerous. You can be high on PCP and be like the Incredible Hulk, tear through a building. You can just bust through your wall like the Kool-Aid Man. You understand what I'm saying? When you highlight that on them drugs, you can be very dangerous. So, of course, if you're talking about somebody high on drugs, endangering people, yeah, you're going to get shot. It is what it is. That's how these things usually pan out. So what you said was correct. It's not this big deal. People trying to make it be like, oh, police brutality is a scourge. You got to watch your back. Police are racist. It ain't like that. Like you said, right now you get a big magnifying glass on policing. So any false move could be the end of your life. Not only your career, but your life. People are getting football numbers from mistakes. So you can't do anything that's wrong because you're going to get punished to the fullest extent. And then beyond that, most officers are not trying to kill anybody anyway. They're trying to go home to their family like everybody else. It's as simple as that. They're trying to do their job. That's all. So this whole thing about police brutality really being a serious issue is just not. There's a bigger issue going on. You got drugs happening, and of course the black on black violence. 7,000 black folks killed every year. The majority of that black males between the ages of 15 and 30, usually by a handgun in low income areas. That's the really big problem. Don't nobody want to talk about. You want to talk about the police because it's low hanging fruit. It's easy to point the finger at the police rather than pointing the finger at yourself, to blame yourself and your own communities and your own shortcomings. It's easier to point in a different direction rather than looking in the mirror and examining yourself.
Okay, what about the counterbalance, I guess, that Lucas threw in there and said, hey, the number 16, and you've already went into that, unarmed and all these things, but the disparity, whatever, I don't know the exact
disparity
word. Yeah, disparity. The disparity in the number of, black people are only, 30% of the population?
13. I see your question. Basically, what you're asking me is, you got, proportionate to the population. Like, blacks are only about 13.
Exactly. You're right on it, man.
Yeah, blacks are only about 13% of the population, but they represent a high number of people that get shot by police. Well, I mean, we represent a high number of people that kill people too. 13% of the population, half of all the murder and the murder victims. That's why that happens. It's just that simple. There ain't really nothing else to it. So if you have a high level of crime in your communities, you're going to have a high level of police interaction. That's all that there is to it.
Hey, man. Hey, I always enjoy talking to you. I know you're well informed and you're always prepared. I just wish other people were. All right, man. Hey, I'll talk to you later, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, shout out to my man for the call. That was a good question. Yeah, shout out to Lucas. I don't know what he's going through, but, you know, I don't know what's happening, but shout out to him, too. His videos just ain't really been on point. Candace and all of them, Turning Point, they're great people, man, because I've talked to them so many times. They've helped me in so many different kind of ways you can't even really imagine. They're just good people, man. And that's what most people are, good people. But once you start to get to a high level, some people going to start to just, I don't know, they begin to change. I think I was watching something about some rappers, and then they were talking about how they get money, and people around them say, hey, you've changed. It's like, I haven't changed, you changed. The success and the money that people get changes people around a person that gets it. You know, that's kind of how it is. It may change the person that gets the success and or money, but it also changes those that are around them. Jealousy starts to creep in. People begin to look at themselves a little bit differently and look at the other person a little bit differently. And then you got young people that change. You know, I changed too. Some people could change in the other direction. I'm not really sure why, but it could happen. Let's get to the next call. 416 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
It's a Cigar Box.
Cigar Box, what's happening?
How you doing?
Everything's great, man. Can't complain.
It's crazy all over the place, man. So I'm going to weigh in on a little something about Don Cherry.
Yeah.
The company that fired him are a bunch of liars and hypocrites because they said this does not reflect our values, et cetera, et cetera. You know the spiel. And what he did was a recorded show, right?
Oh.
So he records it, and like the U.S., obviously, we're exactly the same, 3 time zones. That thing had been shown in 3 different time zones, and nobody said anything until the next day. And once they started getting pushed by the whiners, that's when suddenly they've got to, say, oh, this does not reflect our opinions and all that garbage.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that fact because, okay, if it's a recorded show, you can watch it before it gets released on TV. So apparently it wasn't that bad because you released it. Now, all of a sudden, you want to say, oh, that's not our values. I thought it was a live thing, but now that was recorded so they can review it and release it anyway. Very interesting.
Yeah. And it was pretty the thing that they freaked out on was he said, you people. The Canadians out there who watch Don will know that he says you everything. He talks, he always like gives advice to the kids when they're playing hockey. He always says, you kids out there. It's like you this, you that. He doesn't mean anything by that necessarily. If he meant immigrants coming to the country, well, yeah, try and fit in. What the heck's wrong with that?
When in Rome, do as the Romans. That's the oldest saying in the book, and it's true. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. If I go to Japan and I don't speak any Japanese, I might want to learn eventually because it's going to be kind of hard for me to get around.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. I don't have a problem with anybody. If they want to show respect properly, they're going to wear poppies. Hey, great. I'm all for it, and I respect them for it. And he's talking to a bunch of people that aren't. Hey, maybe wake them up. It's you give a donation and you get a poppy, and then you wear it. That one thing that somebody was trying to talk about was a girl in Manitoba in the high school, and they told them that they had to wear these rainbow poppies. Guess who for?
Oh, yeah, LGBTQIA, BCD.
Yeah, and she said, no, I'm not going to. And she put on a regular one, and she printed a bunch of stuff up at home, took them into school and put it up on the walls, saying that we should use and respect the red and black poppy because this is the traditional one, this is what it means, and it stands for something in particular. The principal went around and ripped everything off the wall, yanked her into his office, and screamed at her that she was preaching hate speech. And then suspended this girl. And then, so the guys who reported on it, there's only one organization that did, because they don't take the slush fund from Trudeau. And they ran into them, and the girl is terrified. She thinks everybody in the country hates her guts because of this ass. And that's something else for everybody who doesn't know. The charming prime minister that we got, he already, our CBC is zillions of dollars is poured into it from the government. It's a government organization. And then he also gives an amount of money to all the broadcasters in the country that amounts to $240 for every family in the country.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how much we end up giving, so that they don't do anything that the jerk doesn't want out there. So that's pretty gross. The other thing I wanted to bring up is, they want to fill the place up with all kinds of refugees and everything, and I would like them to think twice, simply because we got less people than the state of California in this country. And, we really can't afford it. We simply can't afford it.
Right. The money's just not there. It's like, okay, you want to just bring everybody in the world here. It's like, come on, at a certain point, there's finite resources. It's just not possible to actually do it.
Well, yeah, because it's our tax money.
Yeah.
And something else that I've never heard people say is they're all screaming about this climate change thing, right? Or climate problem, or whatever it is. And if this is such an issue, they're always saying that, we're burning all these fossil fuels and this is causing the climate change. And yet they want to bring everybody here. And that means half of the year it's freezing cold. You have to burn fossil fuels in order to keep warm. Wouldn't it be better that everybody went to these warmer climates, probably where they're coming from?
That's right.
For the just for the climate change thing that they're whining about.
That's right.
You never hear anything like that. But anyway, I'll better let you go. It's not a heck of a lot of time left, and I still think. One more thing. Sorry about that. They were worried down in your country about. They said that it sounded like they were trying to knock Biden off because he was the front runner. Who the hell are they kidding?
I don't think Biden knows that he's a front runner.
Trump is he's sitting back laughing. He's going, that is the easiest one that I could get up on the stage.
That's right.
So if that's what they're thinking, I don't know. Anyway, that's he's going to come out ahead as usual. He's going to win again as usual. He's the man. I wish he was running our country. And thanks a lot. I'll talk to you later, man. Bye.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you. All right, thanks to Cigar Box, most certainly, for the call. And yeah, Joe Biden, I mean, like you said, that'd be the easiest guy to get on stage. Joe Biden is a tomato can. That's a boxing term if you don't know. It's like when some boxers get started and give them a little bit of a push. You put a tomato can in the ring with them, it's a person that's easily defeated. You can just hit him one time, barely, just brush him with your right hook, hit him right there, and they just fall on the ground. It's a wrap. That's a tomato can. That'd be Joe Biden. Joe Biden does not, he's losing his cognitive abilities. He's not speaking properly. He doesn't know where he is, who he is. it's clear that if you look at Joe Biden right now and look at him even 10 years ago, it ain't the same person. Too old, don't really know what's going on. It'd be too easy. It is what it is. But let me get to the next call. Let's go to 719. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great. How about yourself?
Not too bad. I wanted to say something. Everybody should realize that this impeachment was never about impeaching Trump. They can't do it. If they could have, Mueller would have found evidence against him. It was about undermining Trump, keeping his name out there, making him look guilty, and undermining his foreign affairs and making him look weak. And I hate to say it, but they've succeeded in that. As far as Barr is concerned, Barr is useless. We've got less than a year before we go out to vote for Trump. There is no way Barr has any intentions of prosecuting anybody. The IG report came out. Barr was just two little people, as I see it, Comey and McCabe. Barr declined to prosecute. Then he turns around and two people that know Giuliani gave Trump too much cash in his campaign. He turns around and says, oh, yeah, indict, prosecute them. By the way, those were Republicans. Then he puts Durham on it. Durham, for over a year, is out there looking around. We already know through Sarah Carter, John Solomon, all of them, that we already have the evidence that proves the corruption of the intelligence agencies, and the higher Democrats were involved in a coup. So Durham's out there looking around for over a year. He has no prosecution power and no power to put up grand juries. That's dumb. So a year before they vote for Trump, honestly, have you ever seen any high-level cases that would ever be done in a year? It can't be done.
That's right.
If Trump, yes, exactly. If Trump loses, those two men go back into taxpayer retirement.
Right, because it took 3 years for the whole Russia thing to yield nothing. So, I mean, this whole impeachment situation would take as long or longer.
Exactly. So there was never Barr. Barr is as dirty as every other Democrat. These are all a bunch of good old boys that have known each other for a lifetime. They're all corrupt in some way in protecting each other to bring him down. This impeachment joke, like I said, with everything Mueller did, and even before Mueller was involved, believe me, with the people he had, and they all hated Trump, they could have found something if they looked everywhere. The only thing this impeachment does is to give them the chance to keep looking and to undermine Trump. And another thing people should realize, it does not matter if Trump wins in 2020 if we don't have the senators to back him when it comes to making laws. It's over. So the Democrats, with their fake voting going on here, and that's what Trump should really be looking into, because as long as they're putting in senators that we know are not winning, there's no doubt in my mind that the House did not win legitimately, and neither are these other senators. But we've got, during 2018, when the senators were voting, when we were voting on senators, how many Republican senators were voted in, and then a week later we hear from the Democrats, well, now wait a minute, I found a car 3 blocks away with 50,000 votes in the rain that nobody saw. So we have to count those votes. 2 weeks later, they're telling us, oh no, the Democrats won that seat. So it doesn't even matter if Trump wins in 2020 until we can get these Democrat senators out and get the Republicans in, decent Republicans. We only have a handful of them now that will vote to make new law. This country's done. This is why we are so close to a major civil war right now, because more people are starting to realize this. And Barr, he's just biding his time, taking vacations, him and Durham, traveling all over the country at taxpayer expense. and nobody's going to be prosecuted. They might have had a chance to bring charges against some of these people, maybe a year ago, but Barr didn't give Durham any power whatsoever. So him coming out now and saying, "Go ahead, I give you the power," to do what? To do what? Even the IG report hasn't come out yet, and the two people that he said to prosecute, Barr declined. And Comey and McCabe were out there all over bragging about their corruption. Rosenstein, we know he was part of it too. He sent him home. Mueller comes out and says, in a half an hour speech, and says, "Oh, I didn't find Trump wasn't guilty. I just said that we couldn't see anything." Made everybody, boy, he was big and strong man then. Next thing you know, a couple months later, he's in front of the hearing acting like he's got Alzheimer's. Everybody's then going, "Oh my God, feel sorry for him." Lying, not telling the truth. Was he prosecuted? No. I haven't seen one leaker prosecuted. One person that's leaked classified information prosecuted. We've got actual people inside the White House, Kelly, the rest of them, asking people to undermine Trump. Has Barr gone to them and said, "Excuse me, do you know you are breaking the law, right?"
Right.
Barr done anything about that? No. Last time I heard Barr talk, he said, "Let's see where the chips fall." I got news for you, Barr. We saw the chips. They fell, and we can see now that, and I swear if one more person gets on national TV and tells me that Barr is a good guy and he's credible and this and that, I am going to be like Epstein. I am going to choke myself to death. So people need to realize that we're not going to see any justice out of this. We'll be lucky if we ever see anything out of the IG report. All the intelligence agencies are fighting right now. They want it classified, all their corruption that was involved. I mean, hell, we got the head of the CIA just deducting whole parts of laws that have been enacted for 50 years, 50, 60 years? That have just disappeared now, so anybody that's talking over a water cooler can say, "Hey, I know Trump is guilty, let's impeach him." Where is Barr asking these people? We've got an aide that works for Pence saying she was listening in on this phone conversation between two presidents. The last aide that worked in the White House that we're still talking about was giving a blowjob to the president in the Oval Office. So why are there aides listening in to presidential conversations, and why is Barr not thinking this is a problem? I thought conversations between two presidents in the Oval Office, unless Trump releases them, I would assume are classified. I mean, hell, we can't seem to get to look at anything, and it's not even classified.
That's right. Well, it's been a great call, make a lot of great points, and thank you for your call. I definitely appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
All right, now. All right, shout out to the caller. Let's keep it a little bit PG-13 though. She was on the roll. I ain't want to stop her, but yeah, PG-13, please. You got little babies watching. All right, let's get to the next call. 918 in the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, what's up? This is Matt from Oklahoma.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Hey, not much. Just seen your broadcast here. Should we talk about anything about the news today?
Yeah, man. Whatever was on your mind, news related. Let's talk about it.
The whole public hearing started today. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, this was pathetic. I mean, I couldn't hear everything the Democrats asked these guys. You notice that a lot of them, it wasn't like yes or no questions. It was more like what if questions,
Yeah.
And if you start a question with like what if or do you believe or something like that, you're not looking for truth. You're looking for opinions. It's ridiculous.
Oh, of course.
You
And
know,
at that point, if you get opinions, it's like, okay, what are we even here for? What's the real purpose? Are we trying to find some facts or just get a gauge on how everybody feels?
Exactly. And see, I think the American people, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of them don't get it still. I mean, I'm not going to name any names, but this whole thing, like President Trump says, it's a witch hunt. It really is. The whole thing is about a phone call. Trump said, okay, here's the transcript of the phone call. Have fun. You know,
right.
It should be case closed right there. There's Trump's evidence. He gave it to you. What else do you want? There's nothing else to even talk about.
It's black and white right in front of your face. So, like you said, that should be pretty much the end of that.
Exactly. I mean, the whole thing, this thing is dragging out the way it is now. It's all just a delay until 2020. I mean, that's all it is. And like, who was it? Al Green from Texas, senator down there, he said, if we don't impeach him, he's going to win in 2020.
Yep.
I mean, he said it right there. You know, that's all they're doing. They're trying every single thing they can think of just to get rid of Trump. And, you know, Trump is like, you call him Teflon Don, you know. They've been throwing stuff at him ever since he announced he was going to run. And not one single thing has stuck. You know why? Because he's done nothing wrong.
That's right. That's usually how it goes. I mean, if you're trying to get somebody on something, but you can't, you keep, you know, beating your head up against the wall. I mean, if they didn't do anything, that's generally how these things operate.
Exactly. You know, and that's how it should operate, you know, but unfortunately for Washington and, you know, just the whole swamp, you know, they don't play by the rules.
That's right.
You know, and that's what Trump set out to do, to destroy this swamp, and he's doing it. I think by the time this is all over with, which will hopefully be by a year from now, next election, you know, and I know Trump has his guys working on this too. You got Barr and Durham. You know, that story's not going to go away either. I think when these guys, the Democrats, make a complete fool of themselves, Trump's going to come out with a counterpunch, like he always does. Even just in something simple as a tweet, he always counterpunches. He's going to come out, okay, let's take a serious look, a criminal investigation look, as Durham said, into these guys on the left. And then we might finally get the real answers. And you know what? It could be a pivotal point in American history. You know, a huge blow to the establishment and the bureaucrats.
That's
and
right.
That would mark, I think, a great day for America.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
Yep. Well, that's my thought on the whole situation right now. I just wanted to get in. Just subscribed to your channel not too long ago, actually. Really dig it. I think you and I share pretty much a lot of the same beliefs. So I just wanted to give my word.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right, now, same to you. All right, shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate him. And shout out to y'all that are watching. Please give the video a thumbs up, share the video. And if you're not subscribed already, I don't know what you're waiting on. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. I'd appreciate it if you did so. But let me get to my next call. 918, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Trey.
All right, man. What's going on?
Hey, I want to talk. What's going on? I want to talk about the impeachment. I actually learned something today from Matt Christian. He had his stream shut down the other day, but he did a video talking about political fact, and he said that that they said that it was mostly false. That I guess the last 6 presidents since Ike, Republican presidents, have the Democrats have tried to impeach, which wasn't quite true because 5 out of the 6 Republicans the Democrats have tried to impeach, and that was something I didn't even know. Like, I mean, the obvious one is Nixon, but so to me, this is just their usual game plan if this is the case. And you handled your boy Ivan real good today, because to me, what's hard for him that I don't get, that he doesn't understand, is like, why would they? This is not really traditional impeachment inquiry, and that why would they follow the rules if why would they jump through all these hoops if this is not a proper impeachment inquiry, where you can't even subpoena your own witnesses, as with your own will. It has to go through Schiff. So to me, that's dumb. And then you hit them on the point that if they haven't gotten, if they got the aid and they didn't have to do any investigations.
Right, exactly.
What's the big deal?
Exactly.
That was a great point.
Right. It was they got the aid, they went through no investigations. So, I mean, if the case is to be made for quid pro quo, then you got to be able to, kind of prove it. But they're going to have a hard time doing that since what they said happened or was to happen did not happen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and your video on Rodney Reed, that was informative because I saw Lucas's video first. And I was just like, oh, this is interesting. Then I saw your video. I was like, oh, let me look into this some more. And then I saw Matt Walsh put out another video, and he got even some more information. He said that the reason why that guy really got convicted is because he said he never had met the lady before.
Right. Yeah. See, yes, that's I was hearing that it was a relationship, and then the guy got mad, the fiance or whatever. But no, he didn't know because there was a reward out for whoever, had did the crime. So one point that was made, which made a lot of sense, is if there's a reward out for $50,000, you don't think somebody going to turn that man in and get that money, a broke family member or a friend or something that knows they were together? Yeah. I mean, it'd be a slam dunk. It'd be easy. So that didn't happen because it wasn't true.
Yeah. Because I said, like you said, he said that, I guess, I didn't know how many times, hasn't he had a multiple pill cases? They said he might have, has it gone to the Supreme Court, his case?
Yeah, it went to the Supreme Court, I think, in Texas.
So, yeah, and then they said he's raped 6 people.
Yeah, including a 12-year-old girl. Yeah, a 12-year-old, a disabled woman. The dude is a monster. Yeah. I don't, even if by some stretch of their imagination, it's proven that he did not rape the first person, which there's been no evidence of. Yeah, people talking about, take him off of death row for what? Where is the evidence that he did not commit the first crime? His DNA was the only DNA found in her, on her, anywhere by her. The truck that I think her fiance had or she had was a half mile away from his house. He tried to rape somebody else on that same route, and she escaped and then pointed him out in a lineup. Where's the evidence to the contrary? Even if he didn't do that first one, you still got 6 other ones where his DNA was at. So why would you be trying to hitch your wagons up to him to talk about getting off of death row? I don't care. Go ahead and let him do whatever you got to do, because if you're raping a 12-year-old or a disabled person, I can't do nothing for you.
Yeah, they have 6 different cases on him, and they said the reason why Superslide. I looked at Superslide, Superslide from the Black Minister.
Yeah,
he put out a video. He's saying that the reason why they didn't even try him on the other one is because they had this one. So
yeah, they already had him. So it was on the one case, that right there, you get the rope. So what's the point in going through spending money for the other ones? You got him on the one, and you got DNA in the other ones. It's a wrap.
Yeah. Also, I got another thing that people might not know. I looked at Don Jr. did a interview with Dave Rubin, and just to tell you what type of games the Democrats are playing is that he said that the trade deal between Canada and Mexico has been sitting on Nancy Pelosi's desk for 9 months.
Wow. I mean, so they really ought to do nothing. Go ahead.
Yeah. He believes it's going to give I forgot how many millions of jobs that he said that would bring. I want to say he said 140, but that's huge. They just don't want him it'll make him look even better, because that's just going to drop the unemployment down even lower. It might even, they talk about the wages and the jobs. It might get higher paying wages, higher paying jobs into the economy. So, and that's just going to make him look even better. So they just have it on his desk, and he thinks that it would pass easy. So, but anyway, That's all I have. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
I enjoyed it. All right.
All right, shout out to my man Trey for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. But yeah, it's on their desk for all these months. They're truly do nothing Democrats. You got things you can actually do to help the American people, to help the whole world, but you don't want to do it. Why? You focus on impeachment, huh? Or trying to get impeachment, trying to make Trump look bad. You focus on the re-election and trying to interfere on your own way. Yeah, the DNA don't lie. People talking about, oh, ABL, you're Uncle Tom. It's like, don't fight me on the facts of the Rodney Reed case. You got DNA evidence. You fight against that. Tell me how this man's DNA wound up in a 12-year-old girl. If you can say that it was planted there, you got evidence for that, then go ahead. But you got Supreme Court documents that say, and then on top of that, you got his confession. Like, they found DNA in one girl. I think it might have been a disabled person. He was like, yeah, so what? I did that. She wanted it. You said it's documents. It's right there. Just read the documents, and then that's it. All right, call you on the line, 732. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, what's up, buddy?
Everything's great, man. About yourself?
Hold on a second, my friend.
All right.
Let me lower this down real quick. Give me a second, my friend.
All righty.
How are you tonight, man?
Everything's great, man. Can't complain.
Good. I want to give a shout out to the call from Canada, man. We love Canadians, man. Man, respect. Shout out to Spin Chicklet over there.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. And then one way that called out earlier, man, she's awesome too. She spoke a lot of truth, you know. She
definitely.
A lot of good intentions. She's on the line for a minute there, and I love every second of it because she's had a lot of good things to say about where our country is at the moment and how she felt about the corruption that's in Congress right now. Dude, those people in Congress in D.C., the swamp is infested with these horrible people, man. You're scumbags.
Yeah, the swamp is definitely real. It's a real thing.
Yeah, dude, it's totally. It's sickening how we're getting pushed in this whole dilemma about this impeachment BS. It's just it's a fake farce, made up. Not to be one side or another, the Democratic movement, and it's sad to know that we have to be objected to this.
That's
ridiculous.
Right.
It's a soap opera, bro. It's soap opera, straight up.
Absolutely.
But I had a question for you, sir. I've been a long time follower of you for so long. My mother is here with me in the kitchen, and speaking from New Jersey, bro. How do I help her find the truth when it comes to what's really happening with these this made-up movement that's going on right now?
You said with what now?
With the made-up Democratic soap opera that's happening.
Well, I mean, just look at alternative news sources, because once you're looking at CNN, MSNBC, all of that, you're going to hear just the same thing over and over again. I mean, that should be the red flag right there. If you're looking at one station and they say, if they say one thing the exact same way as a different station, you're like, all right, well, why are they saying the same thing? Isn't it different stations? Isn't it different people? Shouldn't it be just a little bit different points of view or talking points? Why is it the exact same thing? Because a lot of that comes straight from the Democratic Party. They say, hey, take this. Here's your talking points. Say that. Thank you. We appreciate it. And then look for balance. When there's always just anti-Trump this, anti-Trump that, they won't even say when there's something good. The jobs numbers, they won't even talk about that. It's like, okay, people are getting jobs. They're able to, help themselves and help their families. Shouldn't that be a good thing, regardless of what you think about the president? Shouldn't people being able to feed themselves and their family be a good thing? Why would they not speak about that in a positive way? Also, when people like myself are going to the Black Leadership Summit, people in the room talking about, better economic numbers for Black people, getting out of poverty, crime reduction, all that kind of good stuff. We're talking about those things, and the media totally ignores it. So I guess my answer would be, look at alternative news sources and see what they're talking about and just compare it and be like, wow, I'm seeing a whole different world over here. Why am I not seeing that over where I normally look at?
Absolutely, dude. Thank you so much for your, dude. That's the most brilliant answer I heard in a very long time, sir.
All right, man. No problem.
Man, bro.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you for the call.
Bro.
All right.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Love you, bro. Peace, man.
All right, peace. All right, shout out to the caller. Most certainly. Hopefully that was a good answer. You know, that's my main thing, because some people, they just don't know. I mean, you watching the same thing all the time. You're just not familiar with the other side. And, you know, it's easy just to kind of fall into one way of thinking when all you see is one way of thinking and never anything else. But let me get to the next call. All right, calling on the line, 817, who am I speaking to?
Hey, Anthony, how you doing, man? This is Adam.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Oh, nothing much. I just had a question I wanted to ask you. I know you're a big part of, or you're involved with Turning Point USA a lot and BLEXIT and everything. And I was curious, as far as to what do you think the time frame is going to be before a lot of the African American Democrats in our country end up seeing the light, so to speak, and stop, coinciding or stop, participating in the democratic way of doing things, and before they realize that it's just not going to work.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, it's hard to put a number on it. I'm gonna give you an answer, but I gotta just talk about it a little bit first.
Okay.
The way that we've been voting has been going on since, I say, like the 1960s, like civil rights era. It's been going on since then. I mean, it started a little bit before then, but it's definitely been like 80-90% Democrat since right around then. So the first thing is that it can be reversed, but the second thing is it may take a little bit of time. Some people that are still out there voting, a lot of the people that are like above 35, above 40 maybe, they're not really going to change. Like the old saying goes, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So that's a significant part of the voting block. They're not really going to change too much. Some of them may. Some of them are still going to see the light. You got people that are like elderly in their 70s and 80s walking away from the Democratic Party. So that's possible, but it's less possible than influencing the younger generation. So once you get the kids that are like high school, college now, as adults, I think you start to see a switch. So maybe like 15, 20 years, you're going to see a significant change. I think this coming election, you're going to see a change. It may not be significant to some, but to us that really follow this a lot, it'll be big. So let's say last time in 2016, you had 90% of the black vote go towards the Democratic Party. If we get 85% this time, that'd be tremendous because of a couple of reasons. A, the Democratic Party depends on that very high 95% voting coming from the black community. They depend on it and take it for granted. They don't do anything to get it, but they depend on it. So if it were to drop down to 85%, that could be catastrophic in some of these states where the black vote could be the deciding factor. And then beyond that, it can be a signal to people like, oh, we're making a difference. So as people start to, the young people start to vote more and more and more, you're going to see the number it'll drop all the way down gradually to 20 years. It could be almost half and half. That's my viewpoint.
Well, I know you get out and about and you talk to a lot of different demographics and a lot of different generations of African Americans. And I was just wondering, what do you think of the Gen Zers? Do you think they're coming around, or do you think it's going to be a few more generations before, they stop majority voting Democrat and start really thinking for themselves?
I think Gen Z are coming around. Not everybody's going to be coming around to Gen Z, but I think a lot of them are. It's much more when I was young. It's definitely. And when I was their age, I didn't know much about politics at all. But now they're really aware. They're understanding what's going on. They're watching the debates. They're watching C-SPAN and they're reading. So they're much more aware of politics. And a lot of them are just drawing connections. I was talking to some kids, like I'm talking 18, 19-year-olds. Sharp, aware. They know about things that happen in, like actual history of America all up until right now. They know what's going on. So I think these kids are going to be much more able to understand what's going on with the voting patterns and how they're destructive.
Yeah, I think it's a real interesting time we live in, because now we have so much information at our fingertips. And, I'm just hoping the parents are encouraging, the younger generations to come up with their own conclusions and do their own research on these things. And you know, guys like yourself and Candace Owens and I mean, God, I can go on. Paul Watson, I can go on forever. But you guys are true patriots in this movement for truth, because it's not a black movement, a white movement, a Democratic, a Republican, conservative. It's just about being real and honest, not only with yourself but with others. And you guys really help bring that out in people. And I just want to let you know and thank you from the bottom of my heart for the wonderful work y'all do, man.
Thank you for your support, man. Hey, no problem, man.
Yeah,
thank you for your support.
Yeah, thank you, man. Have a great night.
Same to you, man.
Uh-huh.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate him. I appreciate the support. But yeah, I got to add one more thing about that. The black vote, it kind of was gradually going down to, well, down, up, whatever you want to say. It went from like we had more parity to like going 90% black. It was kind of a gradual thing. That's, you know, but it can go back down the same way, just gradually, you know. And I think the main thing would be to have just keep pushing, just don't give up, because things can change. Some people you talk to on the internet that just don't believe in the black community, they'll say, you know, it ain't never going to change. It's always going to be one way, this, that, and the third. But now I can go back the other way, because it was one way at one point, not too long ago, 50 years ago, it was one way. You can go back to that way again. But, you know, the Gen Zers, I'm very impressed. You got 18, 19-year-old kids that are very intelligent, smarter than a lot of the people on Capitol Hill that have jobs as career politicians. I'm talking about sharp, razor sharp. They're on their phones. They got all the information. They understand what time it is. They know the importance of what they're doing out here. So shout out to all the young kids, young people out there that are woke, as a cool kid say. What they say, woke. And it's funny realizing, talking to these kids, how old I am and how far they've come. So shout out to them. Let me get to the next call. 651, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Adam.
All right, Adam, what's going on?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
I just kind of wanted to talk about the hearing today and how crazy it was.
Oh, yeah, man. Go for it.
It just kind of goes back to, like, they care more about feelings than actual facts. And that's, like, you know, like, if you read any of the summary that they gave in terms of analysis, it's all based on the hearsay of the two, like, witnesses, basically. They don't have any first-hand accounts of the conversation. You can just find that from the transcript. Even when they're asking the questions, especially Schiff, he's just saying, correct? Am I correct? And he's just continually going on this basis of just having his own notions before, like, investigating or doing anything that provides a serious inquiry.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is just a dog and pony show. It's like, okay, let's get some real information. Like, you're going to just kind of go off of hearsay and trying to get opinions, and it's just weird. Let's talk about real stuff.
Yeah. And it's funny because this was the second time they did the whole Russia investigation, Russian collusion, and they came up with nothing. And now here we are again, trying to draw into like more taxpayer money, just wasting efforts. You know, it's crazy. Like, the weird thing is, like, the precedent that they're setting for the future in terms of Congress and everything.
I'm sorry, you kind of going out a little bit. I can't hear what you said.
Oh, can you hear me? Yeah. It's just the president that's set now is just going to be completely different in terms of how they're going to interact with Congress in the future.
Right.
Like, future presidents are going to go under the same scrutiny. Like, think about it. Democrats are not going to get away with any, like, easier trials or anything that they want to go through.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. It's just crazy what it's evolving to. Like, he was saying, like, you know, drain the swamp. And it's such a large swamp in Washington. You never know where it's going to end.
And the swamp is so big, and it's bigger than most people know. It ain't just, you know, people on Capitol Hill that you see, like the politicians. I mean, you're talking about the employees, the consultants, it's so many people that are involved with it. It's crazy. Just like this whole thing with the whistleblower. I mean, who was this guy?
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys like that in D.C. that are trying to subvert the president.
Yeah. And this was just like, it's basically like lighting taxpayer money on fire just for no reason.
On fire, yes.
Yeah, it's just a waste of time. I mean, this is literally, and even thinking about like the election and everything, how everything is like set up to come, like the caucuses are coming up. Like this is just, it's not going to play into the way that they want to, so they're just acting before what they already know what's going to happen. Trump's going to get reelected, you know?
That's right.
And they're scared, man. It's too much TDS, man. Trump's raiders, man. They're going crazy.
It's definitely crazy, TDS is definitely real. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
People are suffering big time. I say, hey, find a cure, please. Text Joe to 30330 to find a cure for TDS.
To be honest, man, I'm a student on campus, so man, it affects their minds every day. Every day they're kind of like it's just, you know, it's like everything is about it. You can't even go a day without thinking.
Now, I got a question for you. Do you think that a lot of that is because of what they see on television and social media?
It is, to be honest. It is. And it's schools, man. It's the teachers and everything. It's like, even in I was taking a biology or like physiology class, and we were talking about gender and sex. And the teacher blatantly said, it says, like, you know, if you have a Y chromosome, you're a male. There's no, if you don't have a Y chromosome, you're a female. And she's like, this is not affiliated with any of your political like inclinations or anything. And I'm just like, you just explained it. Like, well, what else is there to say? Like, basically,
it's pretty simple.
Can't settle into fast, bro. It's just the feelings of it.
Right. It's all about feelings. It's like, okay, what happened to facts? And it's funny how these people will talk about, you know, a trillion genders, but then say, if you are a skeptic of climate change, you're denying science. Well, who's denying science and who isn't? You don't even know if you're going to be a boy or a girl or which, you know, chromosome that is that correlates to that. But if I say climate change might not necessarily be what they say, I'm denying science. It's crazy.
Yeah. And the whole part of it is like, even, you know, I used to be a liberal, just like you were saying before, like you don't understand, like, they get you young. That's the whole point of it. Like, if you could like just be neutral on both sides and hear it from like a plain point of view as a like grown adult, 18, you're gonna see like this. You're gonna see it clearly. But once you're ingrained in it, once it's just, you know, so deep in its roots in the mind, it's hard to pull out.
That's right.
Yeah, especially like how they rely on such a young voter base. Like young people. I'm even young too, but like we're just like younger people are just naive. We fall into perceptions, you know. There's the saying, if you're what is it? If you vote, if you're young and you vote Republican, you don't have a heart, and if you're old and you don't vote Republican, you don't have a brain, or something like that. I don't know along the lines. But
the old saying goes, if you are a conservative when you're young, you have no heart. If you're a liberal when you're young, you have no brain.
Yeah, no, that's total baloney, man. Honestly, you know, it really, if you just break it down, like none of the art, like you can go down the list, it just doesn't make sense. Like, and I even look at it from a perspective, especially if you want to like, because I'm black myself. If you want to change people who are Democrats, you got to look at it more of like in an economic sense, even before you go into social ramifications, because like Democrats are so strong in the social aspect. Like you got to break down like the positive like economic benefits that you're going to get, and then they'll switch into like, oh, that makes sense, and it'll just like snowball effect and roll over, you know?
Right.
Lower taxes, you're going to have more. The government takes a lot of money for taxes and everything. Like over 20% for me. So I'm like, 20% of your money, man. Like, you got to, in essence, know what they're doing. And the government's only growing larger and larger and larger. You know, even with this impeachment inquiry, that's millions and millions of dollars, you know, down the drain.
That's right.
That's crazy. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Love your show, man. Love your show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Adios.
I know. All right. Shout out to the caller. Great call. Like I said, shout out to all the young callers, man. I appreciate y'all. High school, college kids, even younger than high school. I appreciate y'all. When I was in Atlanta for BLEXIT, a family came up to me. A lady came up to me, and she was saying that her kids 9 and 11 watching my show, and they look forward to watching it. So shout out to y'all who watch the show, young people. I appreciate y'all. You know, it makes me feel good that you guys are watching, so you're able to get this good information and you're able to take it out there to the world and utilize it. So shout out to y'all. Okay, I'm gonna take a couple more calls here, I think, and then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it on up with a bow on the top. All right, calling the line. 817, who am I speaking to?
Oh, Zorro, how are you, ABL?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
Well, it's good to talk to you. Seeing all this stuff that's going on, it puts me to mind. Have you read On the Trail of the Assassins by Jim Garrison?
No, I've not.
Well, he's the district attorney that found, connections to the JFK assassination, and he actually tried to prosecute one guy under it. And anyway, that movie JFK was largely about him. But in his book, he talks about how something the deep state pulled on him is when he was running for re-election as DA, they started all these bogus accusations on him and bogus investigations, and he was having to spend time defending himself from that, so he didn't have time to campaign and all that kind of stuff. And I see the same playbook being played against Trump, throw accusation after accusation, investigation after investigation, and just, it hasn't stopped, even since before he took office.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was nice to see all that love pour out to Trump at that Alabama LSU game.
Oh, that was great. That was fantastic because we saw the contrast of, the Washington Nationals, all these rich liberals in the Washington, D.C. area trying to boo, but then you go to Alabama, go down there with the people, nothing but love. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I saw a video of Terrence Williams sipping from his MAGA mug and watching that crowd reaction. I think Trump needs that. He needs to feel that appreciation outside the bubble, because when he's in the bubble, all he gets is hate, and he gets these hateful tweets from brainwashed liberals, and the media smears him every chance they get. I think that's part of why he does these rallies. It's kind of early to be running for re-election, but at these rallies, he's got all these people who are happy to see him and appreciate him, and I think that's good for him.
That's right, absolutely. I mean, and it boosts the morale of everybody. Just the regular people, they're happy to see the president, happy to be among other people who are like-minded, because a lot of times people kind of feel like they're isolated. They don't have people that feel the same way as them. But then they go to a rally, it's 10,000 people, everybody's feeling the same way. Everybody's it's just nothing but love. It's all good. It's a great place to be. It's a great thing to do. So yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah, he had a rally here in Dallas not too long ago, but I didn't go because if local news panned across and caught me on there or something, I would catch hell at work. So right. I didn't go.
Right, I understand.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I didn't want to take up too much time, but had a couple thoughts, and I hadn't talked to you in a while, and it's good to hear your voice, and I enjoy your call-in show as always. So you have a good night, sir.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. I most certainly appreciate them. Let me take one more call, then I'm wrapping it on up. 760, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
How you doing? My name is Josh.
All right, Josh. What's happening?
Hey, man, I got a quick question for you, man. I don't have any people in my circle. I'm here in Arizona. Luckily, we didn't pass the sanctuary city law, the bill. But my family, they're all Democratic, and I'm like the only conservative in the family. They all voted yes for it. I was the only one that voted no, but they understand why it's important because we're so close to the border. So my question is, why would you vote for something that's not in your best interest?
Well, they don't understand why. That's the problem. They don't get it. They're thinking that it's just something good to do because they want to be quote unquote liberal and help people. It's kind of a virtue signaling thing. They don't really understand why they shouldn't do it.
Right. That's what I thought. Oh man, because my problem was, if you have everything checked and dotted, you should be fine.
What do you mean?
What I mean?
I don't understand.
Like if the cop comes in, like, because I'm
okay, I see
half black
what you
and
mean.
half white,
Yeah.
and I look Mexican, in a sense. If the cop pulls me over, I'm a law-abiding citizen, so I should have no problem. I don't see where's the problem in that?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, I understand 100%. Some people just, they don't think that way. They think that they're just doing the right thing. They think that if you vote against it, then you're racist. It's just it's an illogical thought pattern that they've not been told is illogical. And if they have been, they've not really been able to be successfully explained out of their thought process they have. That's just the main thing. It's just ignorance. They don't have the knowledge, or they may be unwilling to receive the knowledge. They just don't have it. So that's why they feel that same way. They don't understand the logical talking points that you have. You just don't get it.
Okay. Is there any tactic I could use to maybe make them think the way I think? Not persuade them to think it, but have them see the way I think and view the world.
It's hard to do that because people sometimes, it's like trying to get preached to by somebody. It's hard to do that. People, they want to believe what they want to believe. So I really don't know. Best I can do is just kind of say it the way I said it. It's like, well, there's reasons why. It's not about race. It's just about safety and security. You could talk about why people put locks on their home, security cameras on their home, gates on their home, dogs in their home, guns in their home, because they want to protect themselves and their property. It should be the same way in the country. And furthermore, people don't understand that sanctuary cities also harbor violent criminals. You got people that are involved in human trafficking of little girls that are not deported because they live in a sanctuary city. Okay, so they flock to these sanctuary cities to be able to commit their crimes because they know, regardless of what, they won't be deported back to the country of origin. So they got kind of a free pass to go commit crime. The regular everyday citizen, illegal or not, the regular everyday person, illegal or not, is going to be subject to the criminals that are allowed to stay with other illegal people. That's the main thing that people don't talk about. All right, I think my man hung up. It wasn't me that hung up the phone, but thank you to the caller for the call, man. Most certainly appreciate him. But I gotta go. Sorry to the last caller. It wasn't me. I promise I didn't do it. It might have been your phone. But that's a wrap for me. Thank y'all for joining. Definitely appreciate you. If you've not liked the video, please do so. Hit the like button. Also subscribe and click the bell right beside the subscribe button so you get notified if I go live and post a new video. Shout out to the super chatters right quick before we wrap it on up. Put a bow on the top. Thank you to Liza Jean, who says, driving to Toronto today in the snow, listening to CBC when the caller said firing Don Cherry was dumb and Epstein didn't kill himself. There's hope. There we go. There's people in Canada that understand what's going on. Thank you for your donation. Definitely appreciate it. Shout out to Will Redding, who says, thank you, callers and mods. Most certainly. Shout out to Liza Jean, Michelle A. and Sel, Bill from the Hills, Shreebs, all you guys. Thank you for what you do all the time. Definitely appreciate you. Shout out to Milosh, and my man Milosh, thank you, man, who says, hello from Germany. Just wanted to ask why all ABL Live older than 7/13/21 put into a private video piece. It's a long story behind that. I can't get into it, actually. That's a good question. You got a good eye. Thank you for your call. I most certainly appreciate you. Shout out to Jeffrey Luciana, who says, great show, ABL. Hey, thank you for your donation. Thank you to... man, this name. I'm sorry if I butcher your name. I'm really sorry. Sub Yajai Vinodanch. I know I tore that up. I'm gonna just call you SV. How about that? Who says there's only two genders. There you go. Thank you for that. He also says, what the F is that guy talking about? I'm not sure who you were talking about there, but thank you for your donation anyway. And that will be right for Super Chats. Shout out to all the PayPal contributors. Shout out to all the members. And also shout out to PayPal, Patreon, and members. There we go. That's what I wanted to say. And shout out to Jay Evans, who says, hey, man, not sure what happened, but I thank you for your advice. Hey, no problem, man. I don't know what happened. It wasn't me. It might have just been a connection, but no problem. You're very welcome. And that is all I got for now. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.